Black first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite Podcast. We have two good brothers with us, our good brother Torian Rain Reloaded from the Torian Rain Reloaded YouTube channel. If you guys have not seen that, subscribe to that, check that out, all of his stuff. He has a brand new series out, starting 2024 off the right way. Torian Rain has a brand new series out to capitalize off his last phenomenal series, okay? So we have our good brother Torian Rain. Torian, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, brother. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're here, okay? We're going to have a very, very, very positive, good conversation, in-depth conversation. We also have our good brother, Black Alpha Network. Black Alpha Network is soon, according to this date, he's about to be doing some groundwork as far as reparations are concerned. Coming up later this month, we're recording this on the 6th, so he's going to be doing it later on this month. Black Alpha, how are you doing? If you have not subscribed to Black Alpha Network on YouTube, you got to go subscribe to our good brother Black Alpha Network. Black Alpha, how you doing?
I'm doing good, brother, man. Just enjoying the day, enjoying the show, enjoying being in the company of such great certified foundational Black American brothers such as yourself, man. Let's get it going.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming. So we saw the Katt Williams. Now, this is just gonna be the brother conversation. I'm not gonna say you order nothing like that. But the Katt Williams interview with Shannon Sharpe is really the only thing anybody talking about right now. It's gone super viral. Shannon, if you saw the interview, Shannon was not prepared for what Katt had to bring. He was not prepared at all. There were so many times I thought Shannon was going to fall off the couch. You know what I'm saying? Shannon tried to slow him down. Katt was there on a mission. Okay. Katt Williams exposed a lot of the secrets that we had already had suspicions of, and he also exposed certain things that we had no idea of at all. So let me ask you, brothers, and this, we was just having a conversation about it. What do you guys think out of all of this stuff? What do you think was the thing that first set it off for you? Like, damn, this interview is about to blow up. This is popping right here.
5 minutes in. That's all I have to say. If you saw the whole interview 5 minutes in, like, I was on my way to the gym, and because I had heard about it and everything like that, I was on my way to the gym. It was early in the morning because my session is always early in the morning. And let me just tell you, the first hour of that got me through that drive. that kept me going. I almost started to cut my speed a little bit because I didn't want to get there too fast because I was trying to soak in as much as I could. But 5 minutes in, like, this is just shortly after Shannon Sharpe gives his spill. He gives the accolades towards Katt Williams and all of that good stuff. And then after 5 minutes, that's when he let it rip. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, I had already seen a couple of the clips from the interview itself that made me just go ahead and say, you know what, let me just go ahead and watch it. I didn't even know it was almost 3 hours at the time because, most interviews wouldn't last nowhere near that long. And I just happened to cut it on 5 minutes in, a couple more minutes go by, and I'm like, wait a minute, I heard that from this clip. Oh, so that's where that clip came from, and that's where that clip. And for those of y'all who did not watch the interview, first off, I don't know how you missed any of it, but literally in the first 30 minutes of the interview, that's where most of those clips come from, is in that first 30 minutes. That's all I'm gonna say, is in that first 30 minutes.
That's true. Alpha, what let you know it was about to set it off? Because Torian is right. It was the first 5 minutes for me. I was like, oh, this about to be the realest interview I've seen in a minute.
Man, I was shocked by it because I seen it across my timeline like so many other stories. And it was probably I'm from Ohio. Katt Williams from Ohio too, right? So I know he go in, right? So I was like, okay, Katt Williams, Shannon Sharpe. It's not like a mainstream publication. He can really say what he wants to say. So I tapped in. It was like the first probably 2 minutes, and then I posted the first 2 minutes. And then when I came back, the actual post that I put up had 200 likes. I was like, damn, he must have said something I wasn't expecting. Hold on. Then that 200 went to 300, 300 went to 400, and then it was everywhere. So I kind of caught on with the people. after watching it, because I was into it, because I'm a fan, so I was enjoying what he was saying. But after I seen the response from the people, I went back and started watching it. And family, when people say, you know, they stand on business or they mean what they say and say what they mean, he really put all of the terms in that one, because he spit nothing but fire, a whole lot of facts, said a lot of things a lot of us were thinking, and he said it very, very clear so we could all understand it. So pretty much, brother, after I heard the response from the family is when I knew, oh, this is going to be crazy. Now, did I know it's going to be this big? I'm not even going to lie and say I did. But am I shocked? No.
Okay, so before we really get into this, let me ask you guys we all enjoy comedy. We all of us, we have and of course, we're all foundational Black Americans, and we all know foundational Black Americans have a very good sense of humor. So let me ask you guys, as far as rating wise, what would you rate Katt Williams among your favorite comedians? If you could put him, let's say, in the top 5, where would he go in there? Where would your favorite comedians? I know I'm putting y'all on the spot, and that can be a very difficult question to answer, but as far as y'all top comedians go, dead or alive, where would you put Katt Williams?
I would probably put Katt Williams probably number 3.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And your first two, what were your first two? He
you said who would be my first 2?
Yeah, you don't have to say the whole 5, but
okay. Definitely. Number 1 would definitely have to be Bernie Mac, for sure. Like when he made his first appearance on Def Comedy Jam, oh my God, talk about leaving a long-lasting impression right there, and then seeing what he became after that. It's funny I mentioned Bernie Mac because someone had posted up a clip when he was on House Party 3. I said that was probably one of the funniest parts of that movie at that dinner table. For those of you who have never seen House Party 3, I wouldn't fault you if you didn't. In my opinion, it was probably the weaker of the first 2 of the series. But that dinner scene right there was crazy because it wasn't only just him. You had he was around a lot of different comedians who were popping at that time and was really in their bag, and they all came from Def Comedy Jam too. I'm like, if you came out of Def Comedy Jam, like you was like literally part of the cream of the crop. Like honestly, I wish I was a bit older at that time to understand it, but good thing for YouTube, and you can go back and look at the reruns. But yeah, Bernie Mac definitely is right there, number 1 for me. And as far as number 2 goes, I would probably have to go with Red Fox. I was watching a stand-up Red Fox did back in the day, and I kid you not, the name of the stand-up was called "You Have Got to Wash Your Ass." You should already know that the stand-up is going to be funny if that is the name of the show. And I also too saw that on YouTube. That man is so crazy. He had a whole titty-shaped cup that he was drinking out of on that stage. Yeah, but definitely shout out to Red Fox, and like again, RIP to him, and as well as Bernie Mac, 2 iconic stand-up comedians. And I'm glad I was able to pull from different generations, because Red Fox is probably more of our parents' generation. Bernie Mac, he's more of our generation early on, and Katt Williams, he's still part of our generation as well, as far as like late 90s, early 2000s, and still even currently the present day.
Yeah, that's true. Alpha, what would you say, where would he fit in a top 5?
All right, boy, that's a tough one, man. Tough one. Afro with the good questions, brother. Here we go. He got to be top 5 for me. Top 5, okay? And what makes him very, very special is, in my opinion, he's the last of the Black grassroots comedians, because all of our comedians have always been grassroots. Just like our music has always been grassroots. You had to come up from our community, like the Chitlin circuit, and then you go mainstream, and then the millions of dollars came. Pretty much everything after Katt Williams became the dominant society selecting people and elevated them above, which is what we're going to talk about today, and something that he spoke about in the interview. So to me, he's the last guy who really was a comedian that we chose. We selected him. You know what I mean? The dominant society didn't. And we didn't just elevate him just because. It's because not only was he funny, he was relatable. He went around. I actually seen a comedy special with him, and it was in Cincinnati. But the week before the comedy special, he went to all the facilities and factories and was meeting with the people. Real people's champion type stuff. So he's top 5 purely based on he's funny as hell, and he's very, very realistic. And he says things that we as Black Americans can definitely relate to. In terms of my top 5, I'll give you 2. Because that's a tough one. I'll be here for like 30 hours trying to get it all done. Number 1 for me is prime Eddie Murphy. I'm talking about 1980s Eddie Murphy Raw. Anybody who hasn't seen that, like Torian said, we got Google, we got Netflix, everything. Wherever your subscriber is, go and check it out. Eddie Murphy Raw, A1. It gets no better than. And then number 2, I would say Dave Chappelle. And then I got to throw in Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin
is underrated.
Right, salute to Kansas City, man. So Eddie, those 3 right there, and then somewhere in between that, with the legends, and then I would throw Katt Williams in there. But when you put some foundational Black American comedians in the same place at the same time, lock in, because it's gonna be funny as hell.
Eddie Griffin, another one that was on Def Comedy Jam. I keep telling y'all, if y'all came out of Def Comedy Jam, you was definitely part of an elite class of Black comedians back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Now, for me, I would probably pick top. He would be, I want to almost say he's 2, because there's only been 2 comedians I've ever actually paid to go see. He was the first comedian I ever paid to go see, but my bias is kind of giving me, I'm going to pick Bernie Mac, number 1. He from Chicago. So, I got a bias there. I'm not going to lie. I remember my parents were always into stand-up comedy, okay? I remember they had the DVD. I think it was so big, it was 2 DVDs. This is when DVDs could only hold so much information. They would sell a DVD pack in like 2 different DVDs. So my parents had the original Kings of Comedy, okay? And they would watch it. And the only parts I would really remember them laughing to was Bernie Mac, okay? I think they kind of liked Cedric the Entertainer a little bit, but from what I remember, they didn't find Steve Harvey or D.L. Hughley that funny, to be very honest. And I'm not trying to put no like words in their mouth or anything, but this is what I remember. Bernie. That's what I remember. I remember watching, my uncle showed me Eddie Murphy Raw, okay? And I think that was my first time watching a stand-up from start to finish. Not just like a clip here or there. Hilarious. Put me really on the stand-up. Katt Williams, I think I would want to put Katt Williams tied, to me personally. Because, like, for instance, when is the last time a legendary comedian you saw do stand-up? Katt Williams doesn't have to do stand-up anymore, but he still does it. You know what I'm saying? He's like one of the legends all the way, like one of the biggest things 20 years ago, and he's still doing stand-up now. If you were big 20 years ago, odds are you're not doing stand-up now. You might be doing movies or whatever. And I'm not hating, I'm not saying nothing negative about it, but Katt is still doing stand-up. I think that's really good. Shout out to him. The only people I can think of who was probably anywhat relevant at that time was Katt and Dave Chappelle. Now, Katt was always, to me, funnier, but Dave is still doing. Dave recently has another Netflix stand-up he just put out like a week ago. So let me ask you this. Katt Williams said that the original Kings of Comedy, it was really Steve Harvey's, right? And the original Kings of Comedy had Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hughley. And he said that pretty much everybody on there hated on Bernie. And they tried to get Katt Williams to be the 4th King of Comedy. To make it a set or whatever the case is. This confirms to me that Bernie was absolutely the funniest of the kings of comedy. And I'm not saying that those other comedians don't have moments of being funny, but let's be honest. I feel like, and I'm going to ask you guys this question, I feel like stand-up comedy is different from just being a funny person. Like, for instance, Steve Harvey, we know he hosts Family Feud, right? I think he does good on Family Feud. Family Feud, to me personally, was not as interesting prior to him joining. He definitely did elevate the game show of Family Feud. I'll give him that. He does good improv with the guests and the jokes and stuff like that. But I think that's a very different thing than stand-up. And I think what Katt Williams was trying to say is that, yeah, these people might have some funny lines, some funny interviews, but as far as stand-up goes, they haven't mastered the art of the stand-up. I feel like that's a different lane altogether, beyond movies, TV shows, game show hosts. What do you all think of that?
Well, I definitely would have to agree, because stand-up, like you said, they have to write their own material. They should be writing their own material in order to go out there and deliver that to the audience, especially, night after night, or how many times that they are on, slated to do so. With him being a game show host, and like you were saying, I agree with you on that part. That's really more of his lane. He made the show very popular, especially since you're talking about a game show that's been around for so many years. Like, Family Feud was out when our parents were teenagers. That's how long it's been around. And then, he gets this gig, to host Family Feud. At first, people was kind of like, and the thing is, he was pretty much welcomed with open arms almost instantly because, of who he is. And he took it and he ran with it. But, that's definitely more of his lane. And I'm not even going to lie to you. This may sound like I'm like reaching a little bit, but it doesn't even seem like what he's doing is even that difficult. It actually seems, compared to stand-up. With stand-up, the audience is going to be a little bit more harsher. It's almost like going to do Showtime at the Apollo. With a game show like, Family Feud, all you have to do is try to find a way to adapt to not only the guests, but also the audience that's there. And I've been inside of a game show studio. They're not that big. Trust me. They are very small. Compared to doing a stand-up show, like say in an arena where there's like thousands of people, that's a lot of pressure there. It's a lot of eyes, watching you all at one time and live in one place. But I think that him doing the game show at Family Feud is probably definitely more of his lane compared to doing stand-up. I know personally, I wouldn't pay money to go see Steve Harvey stand-up. That's just me.
What's interesting? I saw Steve Harvey stand up one time. I liked it. Don't know how much of that he wrote though. I can't tell you how much of that was his jokes, but it was cool. Alpha, what do you think?
They always say there's a difference between being a comic and a comedian, and there's also a difference between being just a comic and I guess an actor. It gets me about what Katt Williams said. If anybody remembers, at that time, when Kings of Comedy came out, Bernie Mac was the only one who did not have a show. He didn't have a television show. Steve Harvey had one. D.L. Hughley had one. And if I'm not mistaken, Cedric the Entertainer was getting one, and he'd been on network television before.
I think was
he was on the Steve Harvey show.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yep. And remember, it was kind of like Bernie, hadn't had one yet. He actually made jokes about that at the end of the show. He was making jokes about getting his own. And then think about it. Nobody remembers their shows as much as we remember Bernie Mac show, okay? And that was his audience. He was the people's champ. We were just talking about coming up through the ranks and coming up from the grassroots. That night, really that tour, but particularly that night where they filmed it, that was Bernie Mac becoming the legend. We loved him, but then he became the legend after that. So I am not surprised that there was so much backdoor hating that they were doing for Bernie Mac, and a lot of things that those people have done since then. I mean, D.L. Hughley's kind of like a Democratic shill right now, right? Steve Harvey was talking about Africans is us. You dig? So I'm not surprised what Katt Williams said then, and a lot of things he said in that interview came to light. And one thing is when the people in the community chose you, then you cannot take that away, and nobody could ever take that away from Bernie Mac. And Bernie Mac's not just somebody we laugh at; he was beloved. People really love him, and when he passed away, it really hurt folks. So I'm not surprised that the hate was going on from them, back channel. But at the same time, what do you expect? Because that man was special, and everybody else was just, average, if you put it that way. Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey. They don't make nobody's top 10 list that I know. But we sitting here saying Bernie Mac is number one. And if we see that today, trust me, they saw that then before it happened. So I'm definitely in a complete understanding of what Katt Williams is talking about.
And also, too, when it comes to Bernie Mac, the Bernie Mac show was birthed out of Kings of Comedy. Because remember, he did a joke talking about his sister's kids, 2 girls and a boy. Bernie Mac show, 2 nieces and a nephew. So him doing that whole, which in my opinion was probably one of the funniest jokes of the entire set that he did, with the milk and cookies and him downstairs like that. that whole skit that whole part is so funny. And I said, when he was describing that, I said, oh, that's where he got that's the Bernie Mac show. He has a wife and he took in his sister's kids. He had 2 nieces and a nephew. And all I can hear in the background when he's saying that is a little girl saying, Uncle Bernie. Like, that's all I could hear in the background when I was hearing that joke. And on top of that, you got to think too, Bernie Mac, literally, out of all of them that was there, was literally blowing up organically. Like, literally, after he did Kings of Comedy, then he, like a year or so later, ended up getting the Bernie Mac show, very, very wildly popular show that probably could have did a couple more seasons, but unfortunately Bernie started to get sick and they couldn't carry on the show anymore. And then, he started doing movies, and not just any movies. He started working with some big names. Remember, he did the second Charlie's Angels movie when they replaced Bill Murray, and with him to play the Bosley character. That was a controversial casting right there, but it worked because, he was still having the success with his show. Then he went on to do those Oceans movies. He was up with some heavyweights in that movie. Like George Clooney and Brad Pitt and all of them, and Andy Garcia, like Julia Roberts. Like, he was in the mix in the company with some big names, and he did multiple of those movies. He did that movie Mr. 3000. He was everywhere. Like, he was literally, at that point, that's when Bernie Mac was starting to go mainstream. He was what they call crossing over, and he had appeal to everybody. Like, everybody loved his stand-up. They loved his comedic timing. I'm very certain he improv'd a lot of that stuff. I wonder how many of his co-stars even got through some of the scenes that they were doing with him. But like Black Alpha said, Bernie Mac was definitely a gem. He was definitely one of a kind. We will never, and hopefully no one tries to imitate, but we will never get another Bernie Mac. There was only one, and there will always be one. But the good thing is that even though he's no longer here, you can always go to the archives and just look up whatever you can about this man and just see that this guy was very well loved. He was very well respected.
Yes, indeed. Now, before we get to that, now we've already established that Bernie Mac was clearly, and I've never actually heard anybody refute this point that Bernie was the funniest of the Kings of Comedy. I've never heard anybody refute that. Bernie Mac was so funny, he made the other people look not funny. Like, his laughs were so loud and long, and he would, by comparison, make the other ones look like they weren't funny. And I think that's what Katt was talking about. That's where a lot of the hate was coming from. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of the undermining and stuff like that, because there were certain things that they tried to do to really get on. Like, for instance, stealing jokes, or whatever the case is, stealing jokes. And we're going to play a clip from Cedric the Entertainer where he addresses Katt Williams saying he stole a joke, which receipts do prove that he stole jokes. I mean, they were able to look it up and find out word for word that he stole a joke. You know, just kind of it was a lot of like shady stuff. Like they just were very jealous of him, not knowing the fact that Bernie Mac really elevated the kings of comedy. Had it not been Bernie Mac, had it just been three of them, it would have never been as big as it turned out to be. Katt Williams says that Cedric he says a lot of them, but he specifically calls out Cedric the Entertainer, and he says Cedric the Entertainer stole jokes from him. So we're gonna get into some of the responses. One of the responses is Cedric the Entertainer, so we're gonna play this now.
Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke? Yeah. He said it don't line up. How it don't line up? He thought that I was just a no-name comedian and that he could take this joke and nobody would know. Right. The issue was that I had already done this particular joke on BET's Comic View twice. Right. It had done so well on BET's Comic View that they had made it part of the commercial. So part of the commercial of make sure you tune in to BET was you seeing me doing this joke. So this is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke, and it's my closing joke. Okay. 1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams?
Now, first off, when I first heard this story, I wasn't sure which joke he was referring to, but I'm gonna say I 100% believed him. I believed him 100% that Cedric stole, because I believe him, especially when he gave the dates, and everything like that. But this is what Cedric had to say. Now he made a post and he's all like, revisionist history, regardless of whatever Katt's opinion is, my career can't be reduced to one joke. Okay. So now we're going to hear Cedric in his response to Katt Williams.
What up, y'all? What's up? It's Sid. I'm going to address this Katt Williams thing one time, man. I saw people on there really commenting about that. Look, I have no idea what this brother is talking about. That joke is over 30 years old, close to 30-something years old. I did the Kings of Comedy in 1999. Probably had been doing that joke 6-7 years before that. I don't even know if Katt was doing comedy then. So, you know, again, he's a talented brother. I have no idea what he's talking about. I've never seen Katt do a space shuttle joke. So, you know, that may be something that he believes is true. I've written a lot of jokes. I've had a lot of comedians steal my jokes as well. So I understand if you feel, you know, slighted by that, but that's my joke. That's my joke, dog. Driving space shuttle to the moon, cigarette, cutie pie rocking in the background, parallel parking the space shuttle. It's my joke, dog. So that's what I believe it to be. So, all right.
Okay. Then he writes in the caption, he says, to all my peoples, hitting me up about the Katt Williams commentary. I say no, sir. The joke has roots tied to so many other of my jokes. To know me is to know my jokes are very similar animated. Characters acted out, sense of humor. I've had jokes stolen. I've had similar promises to others as well. But that joke has DNA that's over 30 years old, specifically from me. Cigarette hanging out the lip and all. So, now we're going to show that the joke in question, this is the joke in question.
Ain't gonna happen. Y'all move to the moon, damn it, we coming to the moon. Oh, we'll be right behind y'all in space shuttles with Cadillac grills. Nigga just rolling one headlight out, tags me all wrong, all base.
We don't need to play the whole joke, but based off of that response, what do you brothers think about that?
Notice that when he said that joke's been around he's been doing it for like 30 years. And they said that that response was back in 2021, because I looked at the top of the screen. That means he had to have first done it in 1991. But he said that jokes have been stolen before. But notice he didn't name drop Katt Williams as being the one that stole the joke from him. If you initially are the one that came up with this joke, and then that's the case, why haven't you produced any video footage of you doing that joke prior to Katt Williams doing it? Because people was able to find when Katt Williams did it, and it was in 1998, which was the year before y'all filmed Kings of Comedy. And then Katt Williams said he had came to the show when he did that joke, so that means you had to have seen it. So my thing is, if you can't produce the receipts that you actually did that joke, then how are you expecting us to believe that you did it before he did? And the thing is, people, I'm sure that the detectives on social media have been searching, and they have come up empty with I guess whatever your joke was before that. They couldn't find it, but they found his. I saw it. I don't know if y'all saw, but I saw his. I saw it too, and his was older. His predated Cedric's. Exactly. So that's all I got to say on that.
First off, man, y'all notice how lethargic and defeated they look when they're responding back to Katt Williams? Almost as if what Katt Williams is saying is true and they can't really refute it. He looked upset. He looked down. He looked like he was making it up as he went along. This is what we're talking about. You know, what's done in the dark comes to light. And a lot of times they were stealing people's jokes, and they didn't expect these people to ever get famous, because as Katt Williams was talking about, there's a lot of gatekeepers in the game, and he got past that gate and blew up organically, you know, through the black grassroots. So I don't think that Ced or any of those people that were stealing jokes, they never expected the person that they were stealing from to ever get big and famous themselves, and they never expected that person to become a legend, and definitely never expected them to tell the real truth years later about who's really taking jokes and who's not. A lot of this stuff, people in the industry have been known. It's no secret. No one's saying it. Only difference is Katt Williams was real enough to speak on it. And when we say things are predated, that's pretty much what it is. The cameras is rolling. Show your part that you was doing it in 1991, Cedric. Okay, show that, and then maybe we can get some clarity. The fact is that Katt Williams has provided his receipts. You haven't provided anything. Only thing you're doing is giving some type of speech where you look lethargic, defeated. You're making it up. You look like somebody who got caught in a lie. Okay, you look like you got caught in a lie. You don't really want to say it, but that looks exactly like what has happened. If you're really real and you're really genuine, then go ahead and put it all on the table. Let the people decide. It looks like right now that you have no answers for what Katt Williams was saying, other than, well, it happens to a lot of people. Okay, we ain't talking about a lot of people. We talking about you. And until that gets done, I say what's on Katt Williams' mind and what Katt Williams spoke of, I think that's pretty much as much confirmation as we can really get as outsiders.
Yeah. The whole opening up with, man, I really don't know what he's talking about, man. And trying to be slow, trying to like drag it out instead of just blatantly saying, I've been telling that joke for years. Now, he said that joke is about 30-something years old. He was telling that joke well before Katt was even in comedy. He can't name a special where he's told that joke prior to Kings of Comedy. If he was to say, now, Katt told that joke a year before, and then he says the next year, Cedric told the same joke. If Cedric didn't tell that joke, and he, like he said in that video, was honestly telling that joke well before Katt ever was, he would be able to say, oh no, when I went to LA in 1995, I told that same joke. Like, he would be able to say that. You know what I'm saying? But he can't show, a time when he used that joke prior to Kings of Comedy or prior to Katt Williams saying it. I'll say that. So we have other people who've responded. Now, Katt Williams has addressed Ricky Smiley. Ricky Smiley is known for, wearing a dress and being a woman in different films and stuff like that. Now, Ricky Smiley has gone on the record to say, essentially, Katt Williams stole Money Mike from him in Next Friday, or Friday After Next, I'm sorry. He said that, Ricky Smiley said that he auditioned for the role he got the role, he filmed the role, and then when he was done filming the role, somebody called him and told him, my bad, we took your scenes out. We're going to use Katt Williams for the role of Money Mike. And then Ricky Smiley had to play Santa Claus. That's where Katt Williams really dropped the bag on Ricky Smiley, exposed a whole lot of the Hollywood making black men wearing dresses. We'll get into that a little bit later. But he said Ricky Smiley he never got the part of Money Mike. He always got the part of Santa Claus. So Katt never stole anything from him. So now we're going to play a clip of Ricky addressing Katt Williams after said interview.
Movie came out. Where did he say he watched it? At home. He wasn't even at the premiere. You telling this man you stole that. Oh, so he could get his name in the same sentence with a great one. It is sad. He was just that bitter when we were shooting it. He told everybody, it should have been my role. Everybody on the scene. Why do you think no cast member has ever said anything?
He couldn't have played that role like you. I thought he was...
Sir, no one... Why no... He was with KD? He beat up Terry Crews? Why nobody know this story? You talking about in Hollywood, they switched off roles. You take this and he... What? So Ricky Smiley knows this, and I don't know why he would lose a child and come on the air and start lying. That's why people believe in rituals right there. It's because, well, why would he lie? I don't know why liars lie, but I can tell you this. We auditioned in Los Angeles. He told you the story about when the movie came out.
He's saying, he's telling this, right? Then this is the interview where Ricky Smiley told the lie, all right? Because a lot of people are out there being like, man, Katt Williams is being messy. Why is he doing all of this? He's being so messy. He's being so messy. But when you look it up, a lot of people was just able to just lie on Katt Williams or lie on their role in the industry and tell all these lies. And then when Katt Williams comes up there and starts spitting the truth, then all of a sudden Katt Williams is the one who's quote unquote being messy. So this is what Ricky Smiley had to say.
Supposed to play Katt Williams' character.
Yes. And Katt Williams was supposed to play my character. And somebody said, no, we want you to play Mike.
Santa Claus.
Right. And then, yeah, because Katt Williams was going to be the Santa Claus.
Right.
And then, and they switched it over.
Right.
Because when I auditioned for Mighty Mike.
Right.
You know, so when I went in there to audition, I'm at the toilet. When Katt Williams went to use the bathroom, that's the line I had to use to audition. So they switched it up. So I was like, yeah, I can do this Santa Claus role Friday, you know, but I didn't know that because I did my role like in 4 days.
Right.
They shot all my stuff in 4 days. I went back to Birmingham, came back out because they changed the ending. Did you know that?
Right. No, I didn't.
No, you know the ending, but they got the fighting or whatever. The ending was me Santa Claus giving out presents to his kids. Right. So the test audience didn't like the way it ended. So
so this is what he's saying. Now this is now I'm going to play for you all the response after Katt Williams said that. All right. This is now after the interview. This is what Ricky Smiley said in response to Katt Williams' interview on Shay Shay, Club Shay Shay.
And then Friday after next as Money Mike, not the Santa Claus. And that is the honest God truth. I had no reason to go on there and to go on Shannon Sharp's show and lie about any of that, Ma. That's what I auditioned for. I guess when Katt Williams did it, they added the whole pimp twist to that character, which was actually a better decision and made it funnier. Cause ain't no way in the hell I could have executed that role like that. And I'm glad that they made that decision and they put me in a Santa Claus role, which was actually perfect. So when I got back to LA, they said, hey, your role has changed. You're gonna be the Santa Claus. And here's the Santa Claus suit. Put it on, and here's your lines. Sat in the trailer, went over the lines, went over my stuff with Cube, and the rest is history. Had no reason. I just want to clarify that. Had no reason to lie. I went out, and there was no contract ever that in agreement with the first Sunday movie, because that was a whole different production directed by who just directed my Netflix special, David E. Talbert, about me playing Bernice Jenkins. That's something that David called me personally. David and Lynn are fans and have been fans of my work for a long time. And it was like, we want you to play Bernice Jenkins, and you know, and here you go. And that's what happened. And I went out there and shot that in one day, me and Red Grant. And that was a lot of fun. Right. And it had nothing to do with Katt Williams' contract or whatever. So you know what I'm saying? Like, I respect Katt. Definitely disappointed that you have to get on the air and explain something like this, but you know, by that, and then there was no contract. It was a statement about Ricky Smiley is not funny. I've been sold out since '97.
That part.
Every single show I have done since '97, maybe not big arenas, but I pack up those theaters and have to add shows in comedy clubs. And between radio and all of that and raising the family, I'm comfortable with. What makes me sad, I don't like the way that made my kids feel. And that's why I'm not gonna, you know, go after him, because he has kids and family members and nieces and nephews also, and it hurts our family members and people that do love us when we say hurtful things about each other. So we want to wish Katt Williams the best or whatever. It ain't nothing but love over here just because we don't agree. Arnez J and I had beef for about 20 years, and I end up sitting next to him on a plane. And when I saw him, I couldn't do nothing but grab him and hug. The statement about Ricky Smiley: you know where you been, but you don't know where you're going, and you don't know who you're gonna need. And I promise to God, if there's anything that he or anybody in his family, on his staff ever need, we'll be there. You know, because I stick up for comics, and we all are not perfect, and we all don't get along all the time or whatever. We all have issues, but at the same time, we are all in the same game. You know where you be?
No. Now, that was his response to Katt Williams saying that he did not film the role. Now, I think the audio skipped a little bit, so I'm going to play it back from the very beginning. And he says in the beginning that he auditioned for the role. Now, let me play this real quick, and then
I went out to audition for Friday After Next as Money Mike, not the Santa Claus. And that is the honest God truth. I had no reason to go on there and to go on Shannon Sharp's show and lie.
Now, here's the thing with that, though. In his response, now he's doing a whole bunch of, man, I wish him the best. I'm not going to attack him because of his kids. Now he's saying he auditioned for the role of Money Mike. But before, he said that he filmed the whole role. He got the part, filmed it, and then was replaced by Katt Williams. So what do you all think about Ricky Smiley's response?
That was the part that I was waiting for you to get to, because I actually was watching another YouTube video, another reactor talk about this today, and this part right here came right up, so I was waiting to hear that part. Yeah, those are two different things. It's a difference between you saying you got this part almost as if Ice Cube called you up and say, hey, I'm working on this Friday After Next movie and I want you to play this part. You don't have to worry about auditioning it for it. We just going to give the part to you because we think that you're the fit for it. Is a difference between that and then you coming back in the response and then saying you audition. So that basically means you auditioned for the part just like Katt Williams did. That means that you basically auditioned for the part just like Katt Williams did, like everybody else did. So which is it? Because you can't say in one breath that you got the part and you filmed it in 4 days, and then on the flip side and the response say that you auditioned for it. I'm willing to believe that you probably did audition for this part, but they didn't give it to you because they realized you didn't fit the part that they were looking for, but they still worked it out where they wanted to work with you and gave you the part of the Santa Claus character, which again was still an intricate part of the movie. I think what it really boils down to is Ricky Smiley is a little bit upset because Money Mike was probably one of the more memorable parts of that movie, hands down. Like if you ever ask anybody about Friday After Next, crazy how it's a Christmas movie, but you rarely hear them bring up the Santa Claus character. You'll hear them bring up everybody else, especially the Money Mike character. He has so many quotable lines in that movie that people still remember to this day. It's crazy to believe that that movie is about to be 21 years old. That's crazy when you think about it in hindsight. But I think that's probably what it really boils down to. So yeah, Ricky Smiley's pretty much doing the same thing that Cedric the Entertainer was doing, and all the others who are going to most likely respond are going to go ahead and most likely do the same thing. Yeah, Katt Williams, he got them in one hell of a trap. That's pretty much all I gotta say.
Yeah, he got folks stumbling and bumbling and splaining. He got folks splaining like they got caught. Alpha, what you got to say, bro?
Hey, y'all point out some good ones. I got a whole nother lie. Check this one out too. This is a whole lot he put on the table he didn't talk about, right? Notice he said that he went and he did the Money Mike character. But then he said that Katt Williams later on put a pimp twist on it. Why would you name that character anything other than Money Mike unless it was on some pimp stuff? It was pimping from the beginning. That's pretty much a action of a pimp, Money Mike. The whole thing from the giddy up was probably written to be a pimp. He says that they went back later after when Katt Williams took over and then made it into a pimp. But then earlier he said that he was playing the role of Money Mike. So basically he's lying. You could tell that he's coming up with a whole bunch of cap, because if it was going to be Money Mike in the very beginning, it was going to be a pimp from the very beginning. He's trying to create this notion where it wasn't a pimp, and then when Katt Williams came in, they put a pimp twist on it. Matter of fact, that's what he said. When Katt came, they put a twist on it. Then what the hell would they name it Money Mike for? All right. And then what was the character? Like, without the whole pimp angle, that is not a character. That character, you could tell, was written for someone to play the role of a pimp. So the very fact that he's trying to make it look like the pimp was added later on, it lets you know that he was lying. And also, anytime somebody gets into the whole, I forgive him and his family and I'd be there for them and he doesn't really know what he's saying, 9 times out of 10 when someone says that, they're lying and they're trying to take some fake high road. See, we got this thing in our community where people feel if they take the high road, and say a bunch of positive things, that makes them right. That doesn't necessarily mean you're right just because you say God bless at the end of cussing somebody out, all right? Or you say I love you at the end of disputing something in a fake fashion. You could tell by the way Ricky Smiley was talking, as you said, bro, fumbling, stumbling, bumbling, you know what I'm saying? Nothing he said added up. You could tell that he was coming from a place of lying. You actually see two different energies. When you start talking about Cedric the Entertainer, he came from the angle of where he was kind of like defeated and really down because he was guilty. And Ricky Smiley's coming from the aspect of he's doing that same stuff like his crowd, that church folk stuff. He's on some hallelujah, I'm really lying right now, but let's pretty much cover it all up in some type of positive energy. In reality, Torin, you pointed out about 4 lies. I pointed about 2 of them. Afro, you got about 3, 4 of them. And you could see everything that he was saying from the very beginning is a lie, and it does not add up. The same way Cedric the Entertainer does not add up. And you said it best, Afro. Nobody's called him a liar yet. Nobody said that he's wrong yet. If he's sober, they're giving these stories. That was a story. Well, I wasn't really being Money Mike, and they put the pimp twist on it later, and then they called me and I auditioned. That's like later. No one's saying that Katt Williams was wrong. Until I hear that, all of them are guilty.
Now, I'm going to play, because he also brought up, and because this is going to go on YouTube, we're going to replace the R word for violation, even though they're going to say it. But in the movie, there was a violation scene in that movie. And Katt Williams said he talked that scene out of the movie. Because of what he did, that scene was replaced, okay? Which, honestly, I didn't know that until he said that. But honestly, that actually saved the movie. Because if there was a man getting violated by another man in the movie, it would have completely put a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It wouldn't have been funny. It would have, I think, to be honest, a lot of people would have looked at Ice Cube in some type of way after that. And that would have hurt a lot of people. So Katt Williams saved the movie by making that decision. Now, to talk on what you all said, he keeps saying, I auditioned. Well, in the interview, you said you filmed it. You filmed it. And then you said you auditioned. What was the role if Money Mike was not a pimp prior? Now, here is a clip of Ice Cube. Ice Cube confirms that Money Mike was a pimp. Ice Cube confirms that Money Mike was a pimp. Let me go up to Ice Cube's response to it, because I guess Ice Cube didn't like the flack of the violation scene, the fact that he was willing to put that in there. So Ice Cube had made a response to that. So we're gonna get into that.
You know, first of all, I just want to say, you know, we shot that movie over 20 years ago. So, you know, people have different perspectives, and it's been a long time. I also want to say, you know, every comedian that I've worked with, every comedian that I've put in a movie, I only put them in the movie because I thought they was funny. I thought they was perfect for the part. I tried to put them in a position to win. That's what it's all about, you know. I don't, you know, I look at from, you know, Chris Tucker and Bernie Mac and Mike Epps, Katt Williams, you know, Ricky Smiley, Michael Blackson, Cedric, Kevin Hart. You know, all these guys I know are funny as hell. You know, I didn't discover them. You know, they were doing their stand-up or doing their thing, and I knew that they were great and that they could act, and that you know, if I have an opportunity, I was gonna give them an opportunity. You know, to me, that's what it's all about. You know, as far as, you know, specific things, you know, Katt was 100 on a few things. Most of what he was saying, a couple things, you know, I just want to clarify. When we bring in a new, you know, comedian, we do have them try out for different roles. So Ricky did give Money Mike a shot. But when we saw him and, you know, we kind of saw how he moved and how he was, you know, auditioning, we decided that he would be a better, you know, Santa Claus, which was, to me, the perfect casting. When we saw Mike, damn, I call him Money Mike. When we saw Katt, you know, when I saw him, I just knew that he was perfect for Money Mike. And, you know, Katt, you know, said he wrote his role, which, I mean, the role was written, but he enhanced it. This is why Katt was so dope in the movie. You know, Money Mike had a small role, you know, about as big as the Santa Claus role, but when we started filming, he was giving us such magic that we kept expanding his role and giving him more to do because he was on point. You know, when we shoot these movies, you know, for one, the scripts are fire, or they wouldn't even do it. The scripts are laugh out funny. But we shoot the script, but once we get what we need from the script, we let the comedians ad-lib, riff, you know, play with the words, do their thing. You know, we give them a take where they can, or 2, 3 takes where they can go off and do what they feel. You know, sometimes it makes the movie, sometimes it don't. You know, when somebody gives you jewels, you want to try to make sure that makes the movie. So in the movie, there's second thing I want to clear up. It was never, I would never shoot a rape scene in a movie, especially like Friday, where, you actually see this happening on camera. That ain't my style. If you check out any of my movies, they not raunchy. We did a movie called Players Club where the subject matter was a little raunchy, but for the most part, even that, we left it to your imagination. So the only reason that kind of stuff was in the movie is because you have 3 villains in Friday After Next. You have Santa Claus stealing presents. You have Damon, just got out of prison, sweating Craig and Dady for the rent money. And then you have Money Mike, a pimp that treats his woman, like a property. So Craig is always fighting the villains in the movie, from the Joker Brothers to Debo. And so we already had Craig fighting Santa Claus. And the only real way to get rid of the other 2 villains was to have them go against each other. And the plier joke was always in the script. It was never, we would never ever show that. That's not my style if you look at any of my movies. So that was never a discussion. We, at that point in everybody's career, we would listen to a certain extent, but we wasn't gonna change the movie for any actor. We do what we feel, and if it was a rape scene, it would have been in the movie. There was no reason not to shoot it. But that's not my style. I don't even like that kind of in movies on camera. And so, that was, to me, a little discrepancy there. Katt, he wrote a lot of his part because, like I said, he was giving us jewels, so we were keeping the camera rolling. First of all, I just want to say, we shot that movie over 20 years ago, so,
Okay. That's it, and it circles back. The first thing I want to say was he could have wrapped that up in a good 2 minutes. This nigga, oh my God, this man said, I got good 20 minutes to kill. Let me say this in 20 minutes before I say what I gotta say. Brothers, what do y'all gotta say about that?
I was wondering when it was going to end. Like, listen, y'all, for those that are y'all listening, because y'all can't see us, we literally all went on mute when he was talking and all pulled out our phone and just started. We did. We all just collectively just got on our phone. Like, y'all can't see it because clearly it's all audio. But if you was like, if this is something y'all could see, y'all would probably be looking at us like, wow. But yeah, like you said, Afro, he could have wrapped that up in like 2 minutes. Like he could have condensed it down just to that one part right there. And I always pay attention to tone. Cube did not just wake up and make this video. He was already up. He had to have thought out thoroughly what he was going to say in order to come on here and just talk. It was like, okay, when are you going to get to the point? Because now with you kind of dragging this out, it almost like there's some kind of level or admission of guilt there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Because Katt Williams, like when you listen to the cadence of his voice and how he was talking when he was, on that interview, he was hitting the points like boom, 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 boom. He was getting right there to it. And all Shannon did was just like, throw out the questions and just kind of like bounce off of him. It was almost like, if you really think about it, like Katt Williams was really conducting that whole interview for the most part. He was really like the conductor of that whole thing. And it's almost like Shannon was a guest on his own podcast, if you really think about it. But but really, like I said, this could have been brought down like immensely to just get to the main point of, was Katt Williams telling the truth about there being a violation scene in Friday After Next or not? That's it. It was a yes or no question. You could have gone into a very small and short explanation about it. and that's it. But to drag this along and give a filmography history about the movie that nobody asked for, that's a lot. That's doing a lot.
Yeah, it is. Alpha, what you got to say, bro?
So far on this podcast, brother, Katt Williams is 3. Everybody else is 0. Yeah. You see it again, family. Ice Cube out here sounding like a mix between Ricky Smiley and Cedric the Entertainer so far. I can't wait till we get to Steve Harvey, okay? Ice Cube is babbling. He's defeated again. It's that defeated energy. And to be honest, though, how do I know Katt's telling the truth and why I believe Katt is because I think that Katt, when he was referring to that violator scene, I think that what he was saying was not necessarily it was scene for scene, play for play. I think he's saying that it was a violation that occurred in the script.
Exactly.
That's what he's saying. Cube, by trying to be a little, deceiving a little bit, he's trying to make it look like, no, there wasn't a scene where we showed it in every single aspect of it. That's not what I don't think the average person took from Katt. I think what Katt was saying was that this occurred to Money Mike and it ended up happening, whether it was a quick shot, they skipped over it, no different than the Players Club. He mentioned the Players Club. What happened in the same scenario in the Players Club, they didn't show it. I think that's what Katt Williams was referring to, where he said leave it up to imagination. You didn't leave nothing up to imagination on Players Club. We know what happened on it. And I think that they were going to do that same exact thing with Katt Williams and Money Mike on there. And that's what he was alluding to. And Cube knows that. Cube knows it. Cube is just being very detailed with it so he can kind of create a mirage that jumps over what Katt is saying. So it shows you again that Katt was speaking the truth. And if you want to come back and dispute somebody, change your body language, man. Quit looking like you just got done crying and upset. You know what I'm saying? Cube is upset. He's talking very slow, deliberate, elongated. Maybe even he wrote some stuff down. Maybe he's looking at a little script real quick. We don't know that. Can't confirm it. But what is clearly being confirmed is something is being said by Katt Williams that is literally hitting a nerve with all these people. And if it's hitting a nerve, typically that only happens when you're telling the truth. The way they're responding to it, the way they're acting, their mannerisms and their demonstrations of behavior show that of someone who either has something to hide or someone who has something to hide and didn't think it would come to light. But 2024 started off with a bang and it's all on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I want to say in the very beginning, he did address the fact that Ricky Smiley auditioned for the role of Money Mike, but he also auditioned for the role of Santa Claus and he was given Santa Claus. So he's verifying, he's confirming what Katt Williams said, that Ricky Smiley never actually got the role. He keeps saying, oh yeah, he auditioned for it. No, Katt did not say he did not try out for that role. But what he was saying is that Ricky is sitting up there making it seem like Katt stole something from him. He stole a role. And this is Ice Cube confirming, like, no, we always thought he was better at Santa Claus. We always gave him Santa Claus. And we extended the role Money Mike had in the movie because Katt was doing so well. So that's one part. Before he gets to the violation part, that's another part that kind of refutes what Ricky Smiley was trying to say. So this confirms that Ricky Smiley never got the role of Money Mike. Okay, he auditioned. That's cool. They said they was gonna go with Katt, which was a better choice. All right. Money Mike. He also said Money Mike was a villain because of the way he treats women. Money Mike was always a pimp. Now, Katt added flavor to it. He added a certain style and a certain cadence and all that stuff. But in the original script, Money Mike was always a pimp. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. Now, to get to the violation thing, we don't normally hear Ice Cube talking this way. This is not really the normal way he talks. The whole, well, I just gotta say that, there are some things that I do, and then there's some things that I don't do, and I would never do. Okay, and you keep saying, yeah, I would have never shown it. Keyword, shown it. But the thing is that you didn't have to show it. If Money Mike didn't escape the bathroom if we didn't see him fight back and escape the bathroom, the implication would have been all that was needed. All you saw the scene about to happen, and then you saw him fight his way out of it. If we didn't see him fight his way out of it, we wouldn't have had to see those characters at all for the rest of the movie. It would have been implied that he got violated. So for him to try to do this wordplay thing, we didn't, I wasn't gonna show it, but you know what I'm saying. So I don't know what he's talking about. The movie came out so long ago. Like, no, dude. It would have been better, to be very honest, if Ice Cube didn't say anything at all. Because my thing is that I don't think that Katt was really coming at Ice Cube in that interview. He addressed the role, but he actually shouted Ice Cube out in the interview. So Ice Cube is coming off being very defensive. And he really didn't, out of everybody that Katt Williams addressed, he was probably the last person or one of the last people who needed to say anything at all. But for him to come out here and say this kind of shows, no, you was going to put that in there. And it's a bad look for you. Now, other people have made responses to it. The only person who I have yet to see a response from is actually Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey hasn't made a response to it. Now, this is actually Faison Love. This is Faison Love's response to it.
What he's Chimp Williams. Chimp Williams. It's hard to address lunacy and hypocrisy, downright ignorance. But it's so funny how many people think this dumb, stupid is spitting truth. But that's the internet, I guess. You guys want to believe in something so bad. I guess you left God and now you believe in chimps like this. Who's an actual chimp and you're not listening. Chimp Williams. Listen to what he's saying. He's actually calling for help. He's calling for help. None of this lines up with nothing. He runs a Ford something sub. Listen to what he's saying. He's actually calling for help.
I've taken 46 comedians with me on the road. 46.
Okay.
I'm not the comedian you can give that to. I only put on comedians that are funnier than me. Anybody that ever told you differently was a fat Faison liar. There's nobody like me in the business.
Faison just told it straight.
Faison said that getting a Netflix special is easy. I have 12 specials. Guess how many Faison got? 0. I've taken 46 comedians with me on the road. 46.
Okay.
I'm not the comedian you can give that to. I only put on comedians that are...
What do y'all think about what Faison had to say? What do you think about his response?
All he did was get on there and pretty much insult him. Like, that was just like pretty much the only thing that he says. And it's crazy because when I think of Faison Love, I can't even name one stand-up I've seen him do. Like, when I first got introduced to Faison Love, it was on the show Parenthood back in the day, back in the 90s. I think that was the first time I saw him ever. And then I saw him pop up in Friday, as Big Worm. Then he did some other movies here and there, you know, throughout the 90s and the early 2000s. But I don't think I've ever seen him on a stand-up stage, ever. Like, you know, if I'm wrong, someone can point me into the direction of one of them so I can, you know, if I feel up to wanting to watch it, then, you know, I will, you know, or not even watch it, but if you can just point out that he did, then I was like, okay, then he did one. But then also to go to Katt Williams' point, he says like that Faison Love never had a special. And then I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you right, because I don't remember him doing a special of any kind, like any type of like from a tour or anything like that. For me, when I think of Faison Love, I don't think of a stand-up comedian. I think of just someone who's a comedic actor. And those are two different things. But yeah, I've never seen Faison Love in any stand-up. And when, you know, Faison Love responded, his was in the tone of, I'm just going to go insult this guy, then put out the claim that he needs like some kind of psychiatric help because apparently something is wrong with him, and you know, he's mental, he's doing this for attention, this, that, and the third. Honestly, if Katt Williams did not mention Faison Love would have still been living in limbo. This is probably the most exposure that Faison Love has had in God knows how long. When's the last time you heard of Faison Love before a couple days ago? I'll wait.
I cannot think of it, to be honest with you. But you're very right, because he said Faison, it took me a while to remember. Faison, oh yeah, he was in that Friday movie. Like, I forgot about him. You know. Alpha, what you got to say, bro?
Faison Love is a supporting comedian. Not even like the first supporting actor, okay? He's like the 15th down the line. This dude is literally never on the front line of anything. What do they always say? What's your favorite joke of his? He ain't got none. He's not even a comedian at this point. He pretty much is known nowadays for Vlad interviews. Basically, he gets on DJ Vlad and he says all these outlandish things about rappers and stuff. That's pretty much the only interest that he can generate nowadays because he's not doing anything for his own career. So I'm not surprised that he took the road of just trying to insult. So what do we have, family? We have the defeated mentality, the real shoulder shrugging, you know, like you're reading off a script. Then we have the whole hallelujah, you know, I'm going to take the religious aspect. And then now we got the insult. None of those at all are saying that this man wasn't telling the truth. And I'm speaking to Katt Williams. They have yet to dispute with solid, concrete facts anything that he has said. They've all taken some type of route to go around the issue. And Faison took the route of what he pretty much does all day long now, is just hates on people. So I'm not surprised. He is telling a complete lie just based upon the way he's speaking. And I would say out of everybody so far that you broke down, brother, he is the one who is the most despicable. And the reason why I say that he's the most despicable, because you're dealing with a person who really has no attention. He gets no type of awareness from the crowd, from the audience, from the people. So basically, he's going to go on Vlad. Watch soon. In probably a month or so, he'll be making Vlad episodes talking about Katt Williams, because that's the only interest that he can generate. So he's probably the most low budget bottom one out of all of them, because at least Cedric the Entertainer can go somewhere and people may pay attention. Ricky Smiley can go somewhere and people might pay attention. Ice Cube, obviously. Where is Faison Love going to go? DJ Vlad is the only thing I can think of, family. And to say that man needs mental help or anything like that, Katt Williams is just fine. What Faison Love needs is a treadmill. But I rest my case. Real.
Wow. You really went there.
I was waiting for somebody to pull up the fat joke. I was waiting for it. At first, I thought it was going to be me. I really thought it was going to be me.
And no, you already had the Jason Whitlock ones today, Torian.
What's interesting about it is, like, out of the whole thing, now I'm sure you watched it You didn't make the response immediately. It took you a day or so. So it literally took you like a day or two, and that's what you came up with? That's the best you got? Was it's hard to respond to, you know, crazy, you know what I'm saying? You know, this is just wow, man. Like, that's the best you got? That's literally the best you have?
That's all he has.
Like, oh man, I'm like, really? And all this fake laughing, like you not bothered by it. You would not be making a video if you were not bothered by what he had to say. You making a video like, man, let me just address this. Dude, you're clearly he said something that has bothered you. You know what I'm saying? Because when he say you don't got no specials, and people think you don't, because if he was lying, and this is what I said before, everybody's saying he got problems, he's jealous, he's bitter. Nobody is saying he's lying. If he was lying, Faison would be able to say, no, man, I got this special on Netflix, I got this special on Amazon, I got this special on HBO, I did this special over here, I did this special over there. He would be able to say that. But he just sitting up there, he needs help. Like, that's literally it. That's all he can say. Now, in a smaller, less relevant note, he also addressed Ludacris, and he addressed Michael Blackson. So I'm going to go and I'm going to play because he didn't say anything, he makes a tweet. Michael Blackson makes a tweet. I'm looking for it. I'm going to find it soon. As I do, I'm going to read it off to you guys, and I'm going to see what you guys have to say about it. It's here somewhere. Okay, come on. It's here somewhere. Okay, here it is. Sorry, it took me a minute. Michael Blackson's response is, now he doesn't make a video like everybody else, but he does make some tweets. He says, Katt Williams is a very smart midget nigga. He took shots at the top 10 comedians alive today, so we can all respond and make him relevant again. So he says we can all respond and make him relevant again. I can't believe this lying, dehydrated leprechaun said he told me to build a school. LMAO. I only built a tree school so the kids can whoop your ass for free. What to say? Mother sucker. Okay.
My God.
I was about to say, I don't know what that word means.
That's that line that he became famous for back when he was on Friday. And he's been running, next Friday, and he's been running it into the ground for now the last 24 years, because next Friday came out in 2000.
Yeah, he did.
And the thing is, what Katt Williams said about him was very factual. But I'll let you finish out the tweet.
Yeah, he really did. It continues to say Katt Williams is definitely top 10 comedians of all time and top 5 alive. But we all have to agree he's not the Katt of 2005. Then he continues to say, top 10 comedians alive. Number 1, Eddie Murphy. Number 2, Chris Rock. Number 3, Dave Chappelle. Number 4, Katt Williams. Number 5, Martin Lawrence. Number 6, Kevin Hart. Number 7, Mike Epps. Number 8, Cedric. Number 9, Earthquake. And guess who is 10? You bitch is bitch mother sucker.
If he's talking about himself, he needs not to be number 10.
Yeah. I want to see if there's anything
that's
else.
what he's talking about.
Okay, that's all he says. Now let me play what Katt had to say to him.
In your career, obviously it hadn't been I don't think it's in the last decade because you've been immaculate.
Have you ever dropped a pass?
I have. I've been booed too.
You know the little segment between everything is fine and I got it, and then you noticing where it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that. The thing about as a comedian, the audience matters, not you, the writer, not none of that. And so I don't think any comedian has ever been booed unnecessarily either.
They deserve it.
Oh yeah. I'm saying what do they say when a guy shoots the air ball in the NBA? They say air ball.
Right. When you have, I mean, I don't know how.
Make sure everybody knows, but again, he still got to get back on D.
Right.
Like the game didn't end. He don't get to throw his hands up and sulk.
Right.
That's supposed to be used as a learning experience. Most comedians don't get booed enough. I mean, this is how you end up with a Michael Blackson who's a real African doing a fake African accent. Okay, this guy is mad at me. All I did was give him the best advice of his life. Remember, he was wearing dirty dashikis, and I told him he needed to dress to be in the position that he's trying to say that he's in. And if you're the African king of comedy, sir, there's actually comedians in Africa doing comedy. If you're gonna say that, you gotta go to Africa and get a school, dude. Everybody got you gotta put in some work. And these guys, they take my advice, they change their whole persona, and then they hate me for it. And generally, I'm just too big to comment or make a statement about it or make sure.
Okay, so that's what Katt Williams has said to spark Michael Blackson's response. So, brothers, what y'all got to say about Michael Blackson, brothers? Tell us.
He wasn't, like I was saying, he wasn't lying, because Michael Blackson been doing that same shtick for how many years? That's all he's really known for. It was funny at the time, you know, especially when we first saw you in Next Friday, and then we saw you do it a couple more times, but it runs out. You even typed it in your response to him on Twitter. Like, were we supposed to laugh at that? And you declaring yourself as number 10? Now that's funny. That's laughable. 10 where? You would not be anywhere in my top 10 comedians of all time. Definitely not. But he was right when he's saying, like, you're already African. Why are you making a mockery with a fake African accent like you aren't already African yourself? Again, these are some of the same people that get mad at foundational Black Americans for so-called calling them African booty scratchers, but here you are making a mockery of your own people, and and I guess you're just okay with it. So now, if someone was to make a mockery of people in Africa, you cannot get upset because you're doing it. Am I right or am I right?
Correct.
But like I said, his whole thing that he's been doing, I've been fell off of Michael Blackson, and I'm gonna ask the same question that Katt Williams been asking about Faison Love. Where's his special at? Where's his Netflix special at? Remember, I forgot who Katt Williams was talking about. No, I think it was Cedric the Entertainer he was talking about. He said this man doesn't have a Netflix special or a Tubi special. I'm gonna be honest, I laughed when he said Tubi. I was like, damn, you couldn't even get Tubi?
Damn.
But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna ask Michael Blackson the same question. Where is your special on Netflix? Where is your Tubi special? Exactly, probably nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I mean, I literally cannot think. And now the top 10 people he listed, first off, now he said alive, but okay, I would still kind of rework that right there, but okay. But to put yourself in the top 10, even at the bottom, dude, are you insane? Are you insane to put yourself in the top 10 and at the bottom? Even if it's at the bottom, are you insane? And nobody can name a special. He's never had a special. He's never had a TV show. He's never been in no big role in a movie. Like, dude, okay, Alpha, what you guys
exactly?
Michael Blackson, Stone, whatever his name is, I'd say he's in the top 10,000, maybe 10 million, maybe. And that may be literally like the last slot of my 10 million, okay? I know people personally who are funnier than him. I think we all got aunts and uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters who are funnier than him. Like, he doesn't even count. And what you said, Torian, that's the realest. You know what I mean? This guy is running around here and he's perpetrating basically Black American culture in terms of being here, but he's a mockery of Africans, and they get mad at us whenever we make genuine statements about it. You know what I'm saying? I literally just seen him. He was at like an African festival or something down in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe 7 people showed up. Nobody was there. And this was towards the end of last year. So nobody's checking for dude. I'll be honest with you. Between him and Faison Love, I mean, could they sell out a pizzeria? I mean, I know Faison Love can sell it out. he might purchase the whole land, but would anybody show up? You know what I mean? Real talk, like nobody. I wouldn't even know where to find these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are they getting booked? Like, who's booking them? Who's getting on the phone and saying we need these guys to come here so we can generate some type of energy or interest? Nobody. These are absolute nobodies. And the way that they talk and respond is only showing us that what Katt Williams is saying is true. I always tell people a lot of behavior is interconnected, meaning if somebody is a liar, they probably also steal. Someone who steals probably also devious, deceptive. All of these are interconnected behaviors. Sometimes we think just somebody does one thing that's foul, it's just that right there. No, there's probably 6 or 7 other things that are associated with it. And I say that to say this, because when you look at Katt Williams and what he said about these people stealing jokes, being devious, being gatekeepers, hiding behind the scenes, you can look at their responses and tell that that's exactly who these people are. They're very devious people. When you look at Faison Love, the way he came at him, the way Blackson or Stone, I don't even know the dude's name, to be honest with you. Just what did my man Mike Epps, what did he say when on Friday after next, or next Friday, right? He said, what are you, just an ugly ass black dude? I think that's what Mike Epps told him. And pretty much he's been playing the ugly ass black dude role ever since then. And he's got the nerve to put himself in anybody's top anything. That is a farce. He's got the nerve to try to speak on Katt Williams. That is a farce. His career is a farce. And the more we go on and the more we see these type of people, they're only confirming to us in the best way possible that what Katt Williams is saying is true, because we can add him to the list of another person who did not say that Katt Williams is a liar.
That's true. Now I want to get to, because I want to get to the biggest ones last. So let me get to Ludacris. And I'm going to say this before we go. I think Ludacris is very talented, and I like Luda. But his response, you should have kept it, Luda. You should have kept it. You should have kept the response to yourself, man. Katt is just on. He's like this. You know, when you play the Mario game and you get the star and then Mario is invincible? That's Katt Williams right now. Katt Williams got the damn Mario star, and Katt Williams is just invincible right now. Anybody who's saying anything. Before we get to Luda, Tiffany Haddish had made a response. So let's listen to Tiffany Haddish's response to Katt Williams. Hold on.
I've been doing shit. I was on That's So Raven. I was on all this shit. I did extra work. I was on all of the white people TV shows, the black people TV shows. I used to be on Dance 360. I've been out here. I've been telling jokes since 1996. 1996. This said, oh, they wouldn't let her perform in the Comedy Store. That's true. They wouldn't let me perform on the white nights in the Comedy Store, but I performed on all the black nights. They wouldn't let me perform on the white nights at the Improv, but I performed on all the black and Latino nights. And so the rest of my for LA.
Okay, then she has some text. The text is from Tiffany Haddish, or not text, I mean tweets. She says, I'm not mad. I just wish he would get his facts right about me. Dang, I guess I will send him a reminder text. But are we sure that it's Katt Williams? He looks like Charleston White.
Guy Tory did a beautiful.
So they saying he might be Charleston White. Okay. Real quick, brothers, what do y'all got to say about Tiffany Haddish?
Tiffany Haddish better tread lightly, because remember the scandal she was caught up in a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That right there. She is lucky she slid by the skin of her teeth, because she was almost up out of there. Now you can't say Katt Williams was caught up in something like that. Now for those of y'all who's listening right now, y'all can't see it, but when Afro played the video, there was a comment right there that said they're saying all this responding, but ain't nobody yet said that they're lying, that he's lying. Literally, that's all we've been saying the entire time, is that everybody has a response to everything Katt Williams said, but not one of them has said that this man is lying. In the interview, Katt Williams said in so many words that people tell him information. That means that there's a lot of trust that people have in him with stuff that be going on for them to go and tell him stuff. He says, I'm not going out there looking for stuff. He said, in so many words, he could care less, but people are telling him stuff. So that means Katt Williams has been sitting on this for years, and he let it all air out this week. And the thing about it is, I'm sure there is way more that he knows. So people better tread lightly with this guy, because the guy literally is a walking Pandora's box. And he opened it up ever so slightly on this interview. I don't think he even cracked the whole lid open. He just like let little things just kind of fly out. But I have a feeling that Katt Williams probably even knows a little bit more. But what y'all got in that almost 3 hour interview is what you got right now.
Yeah, that's true. Alpha?
Yeah, you ain't lying, Tori. And I get the sense that might have been the PG-13 version of what Katt had to say. I can only imagine what the rated R one was. Tiffany Haddish, she's the same example of what we started off talking about today, where people did not come up from the black grassroots. She did not come up from the black grassroots at all. She's really the female version of Kevin Hart. Okay, though their routines are a little different, they are both people who were selected by the dominant society and placed on this big pedestal. They did not pay their dues. They did not work their way up the ladder. They were just given a lot of things. Now, that scandal knocked her all the way back, because y'all see where she's at right there. That's not where she was a few years ago. They were giving her all these roles. Basically, Tiffany Haddish is the comedian version of Sexy Red. All right, that's exactly what she was. She was very ignorant. She said nothing that anybody laughed at. She had no jokes that anybody could relate to. She was just raunchy. She was selling the same type of foolishness that the dominant society in public says they don't like. But they give these people all types of accolades and awards on top of the big screen, because that's the way that they can undermine our society with ratchet culture. She was the comedian version of ratchet culture that the dominant society hand selected, the same way they're doing with the Sukihanas of the world. They'll take these people just like her that nobody thinks is funny, the same way we know Sexy Red and Sukihana can't rap, and all of a sudden they'll get all these things given to them. They'll be put up on all these pedestals. They'll get all types of access where real, genuine, funny brothers and sisters cannot get. Now, that scandal knocked her all the way back down, okay? But a few years ago, they were giving us her every single way they could, and nobody could really understand it. Every brother and sister to a man and to a woman, we was like, she's not funny. She's not funny at all. Same way brothers and sisters really don't think Kevin Hart is funny. But we love Katt Williams. And Katt Williams is somebody who had to come up through the ladder by himself organically, and these people were put up on a pedestal. Every single thing that Katt Williams spoke about in terms of her is exactly true, and she could say whatever she wants to say. She could say it however she chooses to say it. The fact of the matter is, 20, 30 years from now, we will all remember Katt Williams, and I'm not sure if 3 or 4 people will even remember her. And if we do remember, we gonna say, what was that one girl that the dominant society gave all those things to, but now she's back performing at clubs where people are smoking on cigars and drinking liquor? It's going to be Tiffany Haddish. So no, she's completely irrelevant, and everything she said is completely out of left field, but pretty much that's where she started from, and now she's all the way back there.
I'm gonna say, she first off was talking about she's been being a comedian, she's been performing since the 90s and all that stuff. If you've been doing that, your elevation should seem very organic. I find it very hard to believe when people say, I've been doing this for so many years, and then just one of these years you just struck gold, because it was, nobody knew who Tiffany Haddish was. No underground comedian that people was like, hey man, y'all gotta check out Tiffany Haddish. She ain't big, but she gonna be. Nobody was saying that about Tiffany Haddish. It was just nobody knew who she was. Bam, she was everywhere in movie after movie after movie after TV show. You could not see Tiffany Haddish, and people, like you guys were saying, was wondering like, where is she from? Like, we don't know if, and I'm not saying she wasn't in That's So Raven or whatever the case is. I'm sure she couldn't lie about that, but she clearly didn't play that significant of a role for people not to really know who she was. Clearly, she got a boost from the industry, and as you guys are saying, her scandal really knocked her down a peg or two, and she needs to kind of tread lightly when it comes to Katt Williams, because he don't got no scandal like that. She does. You know what I'm saying? So she's still on the recovery. She needed to just completely leave this one alone. She's still recovering from her injury, her career injury, if she ever makes it back up to where she was before, which is highly unlikely, to be very honest with you.
And also another thing that, you know, that she has on, like as you can say, against her too, is those two DUIs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think like the last time I had spoke about it with the recent one that she had, I think that she couldn't like drive anywhere by herself. Like she had to have a driver take her everywhere she wanted to go.
Yeah, she's been given a lot of passes, a lot of different passes. Now, I'm gonna play this one. This one comes because he addressed Ludacris and Illuminati, so this one is Ludacris.
Whatever's heavy on my heart is always on my mind.
Actually, you know, let me not play that because I don't want let me not even try to do that because I don't want no copyright strike. I hear the music and everything, so Ludacris addressed it, or whatever the case is. Ludacris, what he's saying does add up. That's all I'm gonna say with that, because I don't want to really say too much if I can't play the audio. And I forgot, you know, YouTube is very strict with the music, so we're just gonna skip past that. So let's get into the elephant in the room, which is a small man, two small men battling each other, and this is none other than Kevin Hart. Okay, made sure I saved him for last. Now, before we get into Kevin Hart, let me state this. People saying Kevin Hart is not funny. I think Kevin Hart has the potential. I think Kevin Hart is talented and he can be funny. My thing is this though. Before, when Kevin Hart was coming up and Kevin Hart was in a diverse amount of different roles and stuff like that, it's funny. But when he started to become bigger and he started to really fit that short guy gimmick in every single movie, he was the short guy getting thrown around. The white society, the dominant society, loved that because there's a difference between the comedy that the dominant society likes and the black society likes. Like black society, specifically FBA, we're not super into the slapstick comedy like the dominant society is. Like for instance, the Three Stooges. That could have never worked if the Three Stooges were black. That's just not what we laugh at. Maybe once or twice, but you could have never made your career like that. Kevin Hart, once he got mainstream and he just fit the short guy role, and that was kind of his box. In every movie he was in, he's the short guy. He's the short guy. Everything he's in, he's the short guy. It kind of just like, that's what I think. That's when a lot of black people just fell off. Like, man, we get it. You're short. Katt Williams is short, but Katt Williams don't be doing all that stuff with it. Like, come on. Like, and I think that's the thing. When people say he's not funny, because people just don't, or at least black people just ain't really feeling that I'm always short. Like maybe once or twice, but for your whole role to be the short guy is just, I don't think it lands with black people that well. So that's what I have to say about that. What do y'all think?
Yeah, it's funny you can say that because I forgot what scary movie it was that he was in. I want to say it was the third one. I'm not entirely sure, but it was whatever one that Anthony Anderson was in. And he was in there. This is before, Kevin Hart became, a household name. And the one reason I remember him in there is because his character, like, they had him playing up being the short person in that crew so much throughout that movie, like jumping all around and being tossed around and everything like that. It's like, it was like that. When you said that, that literally came back to my mind. I don't know if any of y'all had seen Scary Movie 3, but I remember it vividly when he was constantly hopping around and being tossed around like a rag doll. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was very weird. I was like, what does that have to do with the plot of the movie? But like you said, that was early on. This was, I want to say that this came out before Soul Plane or a little bit after Soul Plane, but it might have been before, because at the time when Soul Plane came out, he was the lead. Okay,
I'm Googling it now. Scary Movie 3 came out in 2003 and Soul Plane came out in 2004.
Okay, yeah. Okay, there you go. Yeah,
But
like I
you're
said,
right.
I remember him being tossed around and jumping on people's backs and all types of stuff. Literally, like a person who had little man syndrome. Like, it was crazy. Like, it was so weird to me.
Yeah. And the thing is, excuse me. And the thing is that the movie emphasizing your height is not necessary. It does, because for instance, in Friday After Next, they emphasized Katt Williams being short. They emphasized that. You know what I'm saying? You can make a couple of jokes about somebody being short and it can still land. But for the person's whole character to be the short guy in the movie, like for instance, when he's in other movies and he's not all like the stereotypical short guy, I think he does pretty well. You know what I'm saying? But that's in the beginning of his career, where he's not the super short guy. Once he got, like you said, Torian, mainstream, it's just short guy. He's the short guy, the short guy, the short guy, the short guy, the short guy. And it's just like,
And on top of that too, with not only him just being the short guy, they also made him be the short, loud guy too. Because remember, when you're the short one, they always say you got to make your voice project so you can be heard, because everyone above you can't hear you because you're all the way down there. So they always had him yelling all over the damn place like a banshee.
Yeah.
Or a chihuahua. Chihuahua's a small dog, but they always bark loud.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's that slapstick comedy. Like, people love the short guy jumping on the big guy and all that stuff, and the big guy just throws the short guy across the room. Like, he's done like at least 3 movies with The Rock. And the whole dynamic between him and The Rock is really big and he's really small. And in all 3 of their movies, if they've made more, I know they made 2 Jumanji movies, and then they made another movie called what's the other movie called? Something, it's like a spy movie. Oh, Central Intelligence. And to be totally honest, I liked the Central Intelligence movie. I thought the movie was cool and I thought it was funny. But the thing is that the whole short guy dynamic just kind of takes people out the movie. Like, you don't have to emphasize that the whole movie that you're short. That's the thing. And that's the thing I think Black people, foundational Black Americans, kind of like can pass on, that white folks love. They love that stuff. Alpha, what you think?
He always plays at the non-threatening Negro. They love the non-threatening Negro. And what did we say a long time ago? They don't like his jokes. They like his antics. They like all that loud jumping up and down and stuff. And y'all brothers, let me know if I'm right or wrong. Didn't he sit in somebody's lap? Isn't there a picture floating around on the internet where he's literally sitting in a grown man's lap? I'm going to find that, brother, because he has a picture out where he's sitting in a grown man's lap like a child, okay? Literally. This is what this guy be doing. And he loves that role. He likes playing it. He's basically been a midget Sambo. You feel me? He's been the little Sambo, and that's what he's been playing. And people can get upset. People don't want to have to admit it. They don't want to have to accept it. That is what Kevin Hart has been doing for a long time. And him and Tiffany Haddish, they represent those comedians that bring in the new era where people do not come up in the black grassroots like Katt Williams. They are the ones that have been hand selected. Tiffany Haddish has been selected to be ignorant and to represent the ratchet culture, and they elevated her above all the other good female comedians. And Kevin Hart has been the one who's been selected to be the little runt, to be elevated above everybody else. And it's funny that the little guy got elevated, right? So it just shows you right there, family, that they will always, moving forward, get in front of the movement that we make. Let's make it clear. The reason why they don't want somebody like Katt Williams is because of interviews like that. Because that's how brothers and sisters came up. We say what is on our heart and we just speak it, right? So now they go and hand select certain people so they don't have to deal with the Katt Williams of the world. And that's exactly what Kevin Hart is indicative of. And he's the prime example of this orchestrated comedian that is there to tap dance for the dominant society. Black people really don't think he's funny. He may make you chuckle here, may make you chuckle there, but he's really not. I don't know if people remember when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, he tried to get on the stage when they were giving out the trophy. And the dominant society was like, hell no, you ain't getting on stage. So he was starting to get little wake-up calls there. You feel me? This is what's going on with him. And once again, he is not coming out and really saying anything that's concrete about Katt Williams. He's not really speaking on it. He's tap dancing around it. And is anybody surprised that Kevin Hart is tap dancing his way to an answer? Because pretty much that's what he's been doing the whole time, his whole career. And eventually you're going to see, we're going to be to the point where these orchestrated, manufactured comedians that the dominant society chooses for us, those numbers aren't going to start railing in very well, because brothers and sisters, at this point, we're kind of done with it. And now we're supporting more comedians that are really from us, that speak on us and things we relate to, opposed to the ones that the dominant society dressed up and sent to us.
Now, I'm going to say this. What you said about Kevin Hart getting wake-up calls. Kevin Hart in his career has had multiple wake-up calls where he's had multiple people be all like, hey, so you never gonna be that big where you can do what you want to do for real. He's had people tell him because of old jokes, oh, you can't host the Oscars because he said Egyptians were black, which is a fact. Oh, you can't perform over here anymore. So he's been put in his place a couple of times, and he's still trying to, ride the fence. He's still not trying to really be against the grain, so to speak. Now, here's my thing. Like I said, when you see a Kevin Hart interview, or when you see him in other things, like he did a special in 2022 called True Story with Wesley Snipes. I liked that special. I thought he was really good, but that wasn't a comedy. I didn't get to finish Fatherhood, but I also thought he was good with that. He has another special where it seems like an action thing, so he can act. But the thing is that he allowed himself, he's talented, but he allowed himself to be essentially made a puppet out of and be like the dancing little, like a man boy in most of his career. And that's what most of the people see him as. So now he's trying to break out and being in more serious roles, but he's not going to be able to really do that like other people can, because for his entire career he's been the little screaming short guy jumping around and throwing around, tossed around, and the slapstick comedy. So that's really the thing with Kevin. Now let's listen to what we have to say, what Kevin's response is, and we're going to go into that a little bit. All right, so this is what Katt had to say about Kevin.
And that came to LA, and in his first year in LA, he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading. No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. You didn't know? Yeah, Kevin Hart purchased it, so he's now doing Comic View. That happened at the same time that they gave DC Young Fly Hollywood Squares. Yeah, because they tell you that there's no gatekeepers, but we keep seeing the same people open the gate. Didn't Kevin open the gate and let Tiffany in? Ain't he now opening it up for, don't such and such open the gate? What do you mean ain't no gatekeepers? There's 100 gates out here. Everyone I've seen got a keeper. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all...
He ain't lying, because then we have this thing where Kevin Hart, because years ago, Katt said that Tiffany is not really organically funny, and she's not. She plays the kind of ratchet auntie stereotype that never caught on with black people. Okay, so this is Kevin Hart on The Breakfast Club going in from years ago. People pulled this clip up, going in on Katt Williams.
Frustration where Katt Williams comes from, you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Katt was in that position at one point.
You were the guy. Yeah. You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You fucked off promo shoots. You fucked off your promo fucking trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what? I gotta fix me, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stand up for comedy. So when you say Tiffany Haddish doesn't deserve or isn't really a comedian and these other women have worked hard, which they have. Shouts out to Melanie Camacho. Shouts out to Lunel. Shouts out to Leslie Jones, who are all underneath the umbrella of Katt Williams. Katt Williams, have you ever used your platform to fucking bring the people that were under you up? You haven't. So because you haven't, don't shit on those that now are. I've used my platform and I brought my guys and girls up. The brand of Kevin Hart is a brand that's expanded so far, whether you like me or not. My presence in comedy will forever be felt because I'm a fucking boss. The frustration where Katt Williams comes from, you keep...
So, says that, and then I want to go to the last thing.
Hey, Kev, you didn't say nothing to Katt Williams when he did a 3-hour interview talking slow yesterday. You didn't put a shot clock on him.
Well, do you entertain the circus or do you watch it, Perk? Which one do you do?
Hey, Kev,
Another fun fact about the New York Knicks. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Katt Williams bought the Knicks.
He definitely bought it.
He bought the Knicks, and it's rumored that he took the Knicks back, returned them with a receipt.
Yeah, you can do that. You didn't know you could do that.
The first person ever did.
Oh, they gave him a 30-day policy.
He bought them for 15 days.
And returned it.
Yeah. So another fun fact about the New York Knicks.
He made the team.
He played.
He played. Oh, he played.
He played with the Knicks. He played with them.
We know he's fast. They say he's fast.
Yeah,
he run a
one of the fastest.
3.9.
What you say?
3.9. He figured out how to play basketball from reading all the books.
3,000 of them.
3,000
a year.
And that's 2 a day. At 6 years old. That's 2 a day. Who knew he was so voracious?
At the age 7, he got accepted to I think it was Delaware University.
Yeah.
Never made public news.
No. Never.
Smartest kid to ever do it. They kept it a secret for 48 years. They kept it a secret, and it just dropped on it.
He was hitchhiking on side of the street at 13. So they couldn't find it. Speaking of which, Kev, you've had a busy week.
Yeah.
A tough one.
Yeah, real busy week, folks. A real busy one.
Okay. 17-year-old boy that put him in the rear naked choke. In a headlock, right? But it's a known fact that Katt Williams do not breathe oxygen, so it didn't bother him.
Yeah.
You can't choke him out.
Yeah, you can't. Everybody knows that.
He's 92-6 in one-on-one pickup game. 17-year-old.
Okay. So that's the response that's Kevin Hart's response to that. Now we're going to get into that, and then Lamont Hill said something, so we're going to get into that. But what do you guys think about what he said about Kevin, and then what Kevin said in response?
I mean, if you want to call that a response, I mean, I don't know what you would actually call that. That doesn't sound like a response to me. Like, that just seems like that was an attempt at trying to subliminally, well, not even subliminally, trying to roast back. But again, Was he lying? And then, like, think about when he was talking about when he was at the Breakfast Club and saying that he was on drugs and everything like that. Katt Williams came out and said, I never did hard drugs. He's like, I never did any like heavy narcotics, no heroin, no booger sugar, as I like to call it, or that Hunter Biden special, the ski sloper. He said he wasn't doing all of that when he was out, when he's doing his thing. And it's like, wow. Like I said, Katt Williams, like you hit the buzzer beater from half court with this one. You definitely did. Like I think that's the best way to put it. Like, he got these people in their feelings, and I'm telling you right now, people better tread lightly trying to talk about this man, because he said on that interview, and I said it before and I'll say it now, he said people come and tell him information. He does not go out there looking for it. People tell him stuff, and now that this has blown up the way that it did, you got to realize he's going to get a whole bunch of stuff right now. They see him as intel. Like, we know you can hold on to these things and unleash when you feel you have to do so. I have a feeling Katt Williams might be back on Shannon Sharpe again in the future. When? I don't know.
And doing that without telling his source, that's another important thing as well too. He never tells where he got this information from. Just like he just says, people gave it to me, and that's all I can say. And that's why people trust giving him information, because he's not going to tell his source.
Yeah, Katt moving real smooth. You notice right there with Kevin Hart, as we pick out all of these little lies, and not just the lies, but these little angles that these people are coming up with every time they talk about Katt Williams. Notice that he had to automatically run interference and start talking about the white man. Okay, he started saying, well, the white man did this and you blame the white man, and basically pick yourself up by the bootstraps. And he started going down the list, and he started talking about things that Katt Williams has done, allegedly saying you missed this and you missed that and you weren't here and you weren't here. When Katt Williams was talking about Kevin Hart, he didn't talk about all those things about, what he said about certain communities. He didn't talk about the Egyptians being black. He didn't pull out the attacks on these people. See, that's the difference. Katt Williams didn't call anybody out by name, you know what I'm saying, or outside of their name. He called them out by name, and he did it very, precise. When these people are talking about him, they're throwing dirt and they're insulting him. And everyone knows that somebody cannot attack your argument, they attack you. That is old sociology. Everybody understands that. So this is exactly what someone like Kevin Hart does. They don't want to admit that what Katt Williams is saying about them is true. And he has been tap dancing his whole career. And you can never trust a black man that calls out another black man and says, you're just being mean to white people. And that's the immediate first thing that Kevin Hart said when he was responding to what Katt Williams said about him. And it's all true. We've seen it. There's nothing that Katt Williams has said about Kevin Hart that the black community, in particular the black grassroots, hasn't been saying for about 10 years now. We all said this guy came out of nowhere and he was getting all types of deals that people that we believe are way funnier than, that had bigger fan bases, did not receive. We all understand that. It's the same thing that we were saying about Tiffany Haddish. I'm not surprised that they were both in that Breakfast Club interview sitting side by side. Those are the two manufactured comedians that the dominant society has handpicked and cherry-picked and presented to us. And the first thing they did was said, well, you can't blame Massa for none of this. That was a whole don't blame Massa, be nice to Massa talk. And that's the first thing that Kevin Hart tried to throw at Katt Williams. But yet we can all sit back and view it, and everything that Katt said was absolutely true. And we've seen it in real time. So I do not once again doubt anything that Katt Williams is saying, because I think we can all agree what Katt Williams has said about all of these people, to some angle, we can actually watch it happen. He talks about Ricky Smiley wearing a dress. I mean, we all seen him wearing a dress. He talks about Faison Love has no Netflix specials. I ain't seen one. He said that Kevin Hart was elevated above everybody else. Black folks been saying that for 10, 20 years now. I say 15, going all the way back to Soul Plane. What was that, 15 years ago maybe? This shows you again, family, that when you're speaking the truth and you can present something that is actually concrete and tangible, like Katt Williams is saying, and the dominant society runs interference against you, you must be doing something right. And the fact is that he said these things, never gave up his source, but yet the people have decided. And looking at the views of that video, and the overwhelming response and support that Katt Williams has been getting, it pretty much shows us, family, that there was a whole lot of truth spoken, and I'm here for it.
I'm gonna say you're absolutely right. Like I said I made a tweet about it, blowing up. Everybody's calling him bitter. They talking about, oh well, like his accolades maybe not true. They were implying that his accolades weren't true. Nobody was saying he's a liar, and you're not gonna address the fact that you said on air, Kevin Hart said on air that Katt Williams messed his career up because he chose drugs. And then when Katt said, there's no proof, there's no story, I've never done any drugs, and then told a story as to why he would never do no drugs, no hard drugs, you know, what are you going to say about that? You essentially, you can talk about, you know, his schooling or whatever the case is, but you told a lie. You told a blatant lie, and you went hard body for Tiffany Haddish, who turned out to be a major flop. Katt Williams was 100% right about Tiffany Haddish. Tiffany Haddish was really dead on arrival even prior to the scandal. Nobody was sitting up there like, man, Tiffany Haddish is my favorite comedian. Nobody was sitting up there saying that. Nobody. But he went hard body to say Tiffany Haddish deserves this big chance, and she fumbled the ball. And he's not going to address that. Okay? So all of this ad hominem, like, oh man, do you entertain the circus or do you watch the circus? Okay, you sounded like you're trying to deflect off of what was said. What was he said? What is that true or not? Is that true or not? And you're not saying it's not true, because he has receipts. He was able to bring up times, dates, places that you've been, places that you ain't been. And all you get to say is, well, you know, that's the circus. So, going on to the fact that a lot of the internet has been putting in major work, and they were able to find out, hey, man, all of these people that he was talking about, Tyler Perry, Ricky Smiley, Kevin Hart, a lot of these people that they claim are the gatekeepers, they've been wearing dresses or some type of feminine clothes where they put on a wig and imitated a woman. I ain't seen Katt Williams do that though. I mean, you say you jealous. He ain't never had to wear a bra, so I mean, he got manhood over a lot of y'all, but that offended people.
But also, before you go any further, what makes like this picture that we're looking at make like is crazy, and they have Kevin Hart right there in the middle, is that when Kevin Hart wore this dress, I know because I remember seeing this was from an SNL skit years ago. He, again, going back to playing on his height, he was dressed up pretending to be an actual actress who at the time was a little girl. So here you have a grown man in a dress who's imitating not even a grown woman, but a child. And might I add, the child that he was imitating, she is the youngest. She's the youngest actress to be nominated for an Oscar in a leading category. And at the time, she was like 10 or 11, something. I forget how old she was, but I think she was like 10. As a matter of fact, you probably may have seen her before, but didn't know who she was. Remember a few years ago when they did that remake of Annie and they casted a black girl to play her? That was her. Her name is pronounced Quvonchene Wallace.
Quvonchene Wallace, okay. And this was 10 years ago, Lord.
And she was a little, and like I said, she was a little girl. Now look at how many dislikes it got compared to likes.
Yeah, for real.
A lot of people, that was a controversial skit. A lot of people did not like. A lot of people did not like that he dressed up as this little girl, to do this skit, and then look at what's on his head. That's the crown. I don't know what the technical name is for, but whatever the Pope wears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when people were calling that out and calling out the buck breaking, because that's really what it is, the buck breaking in Hollywood, you had some people who are clearly buck broken who are very offended by that. Lamont Hill. Mark said, quote, in the Twitter post, "These black actors aren't all or even mostly A-lister. And many of these black dress photos are more than a decade years old. Some are even 20 or 30 years old. That said, yes, white male actors also frequently placed in dresses. Off the top of my head, here's 35 white male actors who have worn dresses. Clooney, Hanks, Leto, Williams, Farrell, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Defoe, Fox, De Niro, Stallone, Willis, Schwarzenegger, Reeves, Willis or Russell, Travolta, Depp, Martin, Sandler, Pitt, Carey." So he names a whole bunch of folks. Okay. Now here's the thing with this. Some people say, well, it's not a race thing because white males, they wear dresses too. But here's the thing, though. We notice that it's a certain gatekeeping aspect of when the black males wear it, where it's like there's a certain level that you can't reach until you wear a dress or until you kiss a man on screen or something like that, until you play a gay man. It's a glass ceiling. Now, when Schwarzenegger, when he put on the dress, he was already super big. When these other people, when Stallone, when he put on the dress, he already was super big. When De Niro, when he put on the dress, these people didn't need to put on the dress to pass that glass ceiling level. That's the thing. So even if the white actors have worn dresses, the thing is that they don't have the glass ceiling barrier to where you're required to, or your career will never fully take off, that black actors do. So what do you all think about Mark Lamont in his defense of the buck broken agenda in Hollywood?
Well, you just said it right there. It doesn't surprise me that he's defending buck breaking because he's been buck broken himself quite a few times, might I add. Again, before you started recording it, this is the same guy that tried to say that Hall T could give birth.
Yeah.
So, or that they were actual women. Well, we'll ask you this question, Mark, since you believe that Hall T are women. Would you date one? Have you dated one? Have you slept with one? I'm willing to bet he probably will say no or not answer at all.
So you want to defend them so they can get pregnant, and they're just as much.
Why don't you go out there and see? Why don't you go out there and see if you can prove your own theory?
Damn. Your point. And it doesn't make you're still straight. Remember? You're still straight because that's what you said. You said as long as they identify as a woman, you're straight if you do it with them. Now, Alpha, what you got to say, brother?
Man, there's so many lies and just utter BS in what he said. First off, he says that he can name 35 white male actors who have wore dresses. Okay, well, look at the comparison between how many black man actors there are and how many white male actors there are. Okay, about all those ones that we just sat there and showed that were black males that wore dresses, that's pretty much like 90% of the male actors in Hollywood. Okay, you can name me 35 white guys, but there's probably also 35,000 white people. So to pick to me 35 out of 35,000 where they're the most dominant gender and most represented actors in all of Hollywood, it makes no sense. It's pretty much like when white people say, well, we get pulled over by the police too, so do we. It does not happen at the same per capita. at all. And it's funny how these people jump around from totality to per capita whenever it matters to them, and it fits to what they're saying in a convenient fashion. Also, when you're talking about Marcus Lemoist, I'm not surprised that he can name 35 white men that were dressed in dresses, because he was probably with his popcorn out and watching it, okay? It's funny that Marcus Lemoist knows all the men who don't wore dresses, right? Everybody who don't wore dress, he done named 35. He says, here's 35 white male actors who have wore dresses. And he said he can name them off the top of his head. Why can you name it so quick, so fast, in a hurry, Lemoist? Sounds like you've been watching Lemoist. Sounds like you've been cheerleading Lemoist. Marcus Lemoist Hill basically is telling all of us that he is the aficionado of men who wear dresses in Hollywood. Now we got to side-eye him if we ain't already been, okay? So this shows you again, family, that they will say anything so they can come at these people. And here's another one. Katt Williams didn't even mention this guy. Where did this come from? Other than you're running zaddy interference, or you're defending men wearing dresses, which is what you seem to really like, because you said that you can name them all off the top of your head. Where did this come from? And it came out the blue. And if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in those comments, Jemele Hill was in there, y'all. And she was defending the men wearing dresses. So we're not surprised here that here comes the Democratic shills. So Katt Williams has not only pissed off all the celebrities, all the backdoor gatekeeping things they've been doing, but he's also pissed off the Democratic shills who like to push this type of agenda. And family, everybody listening, anytime a man tells you that off the top of his head, he can name you 35 men that have wore dresses in Hollywood, keep a close eye on him, because he's probably one of them himself.
Damn. That's crazy. And that's true, though. That's true. I mean, 35 off the top of my head. That's a little sus.
I definitely couldn't do that.
Man, if somebody just popped out the blue and just said, I can name 35 men that do anything, I'm going to be like, who? And why? And what? And where? Marcus Lemoist knew it. And then he felt so strong about it, he went and made a post about it. And then posted the pictures, went back and forth with everybody. The people who haven't seen his tweet, he literally posted it, and then he engaged with everybody who said something on the contrary. So this is clear that he takes a whole lot of pride in this subject. So I'm not surprised Lemoist said it. I'm not surprised Jemele Hill came out as well. It just shows you that when you speak the truth and you speak it as an independent black man, which Katt Williams is, the world cannot stand it. You're dealing with the non-broken buck people versus the folks who are clearly broken bucks. And there will always be that battle going on.
Then you have people like Jemele Hill, or maybe he never saw Tootsie, so just kind of like making jokes.
Oh, Jamami.
Yeah. I didn't even see this till I started scrolling down, looking at the comments. Yeah, of course. Remember, we will never ever let it be forgotten that she said that straight black men are the white people of black people. This is what she says. This is what she believes. So she has something against straight heterosexual black men. She does. She admitted it. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole bunch of people trying to look up. Oh, well, these men have worn dresses. These men have worn dresses. Well, yeah, okay. There's a lot of that stuff. Men who've worn dresses. White men who've worn dresses, but the question ain't the same. First off, the dudes you claiming wore dresses, they got really big. These people, Tyler Perry can't do nothing but wear a dress. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people just stopped at wearing dresses. And it's not like, and the people he's listing maybe put it on for a movie, you know what I'm saying, or a little scene in a movie. You have other people. Tyler Perry has worn a dress and imitated a woman in multiple different movies, multiple different plays. That's his whole career. Ricky Smiley, multiple times.
Now, I don't know if you remember in the movie Good Burger, where it was a scene, because you know Kenan and Kel was in there. It was a scene where they were going over to Mondo Burger because that was the competition. They were trying to figure out what they were putting inside of the burgers to make them so big. And as a disguise, Keenan and Kel dressed as women. You know, Keenan, he dressed up like, you know, a woman who looks like she was like a church, like almost like a churchy type of person. And then, you know, you had Kel, he dressed up more as a young person. And then on top of that, with Kel, they had him in a blonde wig. They had him in a blonde wig. And then when they got discovered, they pulled the disguise off of them to reveal that these were actually guys dressed up. Now, Keenan had on a big t-shirt and some shorts. They had Kel in this one-piece purple lingerie. Mind you, Good Burger is a kids movie. And that's what you were showing kids. Now, mind you, Good Burger came out in 1997. It was based off of the Good Burger skit that was on All That. Never in the skit show, on the show with All That, did they ever do that. But when they decide to make a movie and it can be seen by the masses, then they decide to do that. They even had, even in All That, they had them dressing up like women, because they have it in a picture right there where Kel was mocking or mimicking Oprah. Now you got to think, they were teenagers at the time. Like, they were like teenagers, maybe at the latest, maybe 20, just out of their teens. Even when Nick Cannon was on All That, there was a skit when him and Keenan was running this this convenience store, and they had them be so ghetto and ratchet with the long fake nails, the up blonde wigs, and dancing all over the place and twerk. Well, before twerking was twerking. Like, that was a kid's show. Or just saying.
Yeah.
And like I said, they were like teenagers doing that. I remember it vividly.
And think about this, family. When you talk about 35 white men that wore dresses, that doesn't even represent 2% of white males in Hollywood. But when you start talking about the black men that wore dresses, you're literally talking about 80% of black men in Hollywood have done it. That is a big factor. For every one of those white men, ain't it, bro? Every one of those white men he named, I can name you 30 that haven't. But for every black man who has, it's hard to name another one who hasn't as well. It seems to be a play. And also, Katt Williams is talking about something that is beyond Hollywood. Okay, it only is being portrayed through Hollywood, but as soon as you turn off that movie, as soon as you leave the movie theater, that same agenda is being pushed on us outside of the movies. So when Katt Williams calls that out, and then Marcus Lemoyce comes in, you could tell that Marcus Lemoyce is trying to run interference for the dominant society, because he is one of the facilitators of that agenda being pushed on us. If not, he wouldn't have said nothing. Trust me. Marcus Lemoyce did not say anything about Kevin Hart. He didn't say anything about Faison Love, Michael Blackstone, Steve Harvey. Marcus Lemoyce only spoke up when the issue of men wearing dresses came up. That's the only thing. That was a 3-hour interview. It literally has millions of views. And Marcus Lemoyce picked one part of that to address. Apparently, it's the part that touches him the most. Pause. And he probably has a bunch of dresses in his closet. Unpause.
Yeah. And the thing is that you make a great point, because yeah, you can name 35 here or there, and then some of the 35 are good, and then they're not the best. I can name you, for every 35, I can name you 5 white actors who are doing good in their careers, never had to wear a dress, never had to play a gay role, never had to kiss a man. But you know what I'm saying? The black actors, you can't name, and then especially like I was saying before, it's a glass ceiling aspect. Name the black A-list actors who've never had to do anything emasculating to become an A-list, and you can only really think of a few names. You literally can only think of a few names. And a lot of the times, those people had to push back. Look at Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle almost lost his whole career because he refused to wear a dress. Now, he was able to make a comeback, but let's be honest, most black celebrities don't get a second chance to make a comeback, especially comedians. They don't get a second chance. So most of them do that. You know what I'm saying?
Tiny Zeus Lester, Debo. Remember that footage that came out with him saying that he refused to wear a dress? And it's funny because we're talking Bernie Mac. Remember when they tried to have the young person sit on his lap? And he was like, no. It's Katt was talking some truth now, because everybody that he mentioned, we can see doing that type of behavior, and those that he bigged up or he gave credit to, those are the people who are who've been against it from the jump. So yeah, Debo, Dave Chappelle, and Bernie Mac, they've all pushed back against that agenda.
Exactly. And there's been different times that Debo in that interview he did, R.I.P. to brother Debo, but Debo in that interview he did, he said that kind of was like the peak of his career. People didn't want to work with him no more after, and he was told that people, hey, if you don't wear this dress, ain't nobody gonna work with you. You know what I'm saying? That stuff doesn't get told to the white actors and stuff like that. Hey, Tom Cruise, if you don't wear this dress, folks ain't gonna want to work with you no more. I don't know what to tell you. That stuff doesn't get told to them, because like I said before, the people that you can claim wore dresses, they were already big names, household names prior to, and they had the choice to wear it or not to. Now, nobody's saying, well, listen, if they choose to wear it, they choose to wear it. That's one thing. But for you to say you can't be on until you wear it, that's a totally different conversation.
Exactly. That's what I said. I said that casting couch is real. That casting couch is very real. The dark side of Hollyweird. That's why I said, like, if you go, I said, go into that industry at your own risk, but know what you're signing up for. And really, when you think about it, what Katt Williams was saying, he was basically giving a heads up to all of the aspiring artists who want to go out there. He's basically saying, hey, I'm giving y'all the warning signs. These are the red flags to look out for. It may not necessarily be the people I'm talking about, but the people who are out there who are just as much as snakes as they are, maybe even worse. He said, this is just me barely scratching the surface. We haven't even gotten to the bottom of the barrel yet.
Yeah, that's very true. So Katt, I mean, and first off, the thing is that kind of hit dogs holler, because Katt Williams never really said too much about black men wearing dresses. He never really did say too much about that. It's just what he said, people started connecting dots. And when people started connecting dots, people started to look and they saw, hey, there is a pattern in that. Like when he mentioned the Eddie Murphy in the Big Mama movie. He said, okay, if you wore a Big Mama uniform and pretended to be a woman in the first one, why would you do that in the second one? The stick is already up. Why do they keep putting you back in dresses? And that's the thing with white actors. In the names he's named, they wore a dress maybe for one scene in one movie or one comedy skit or something like that, and never again. But with these black actors, they've kept putting them in dresses or effeminate roles. I see multiple pictures right here of Ricky Smiley in a dress. Multiple pictures. There's multiple pictures right here of what's his name? I can't believe Tyler Perry. Like, let's just call it how we see it.
Martin Lawrence was what? Was it Shanae? Wasn't that Martin?
Yep.
He was Shanae and Big Mama's house.
Yeah, that's true. You know what I'm saying? Where's all this effeminate role stuff gotten you with Terry Crews? Terry Crews had people thinking he was sweet for real and was touching all on him and all that, and he didn't do nothing. He wore that dress a little bit too well. I ain't trying to joke about that type of stuff. It's really messed up, but I guess he wore that dress a little bit too well.
Yeah, Terry Crews is a disgrace. Remember when when he was in White Chicks, And he was doing that dance and everything like that. I said he literally made he literally became a mockery of himself. The only time I really liked Terry Crews was when he was on Everybody Hates Chris.
Yeah,
because he was more tame. He wasn't doing all the stuff that we known him for doing. I said, why can't he do more roles like that? Then I remember when they was doing that movie, what's the name of that movie? It's that movie with all the action stars in it.
The Expendables.
Yeah, the Expendables. I remember when they were promoting the Expendables and they had the whole cast go up there for the New York Stock Exchange. Why he got to be the only one out there to rip his shirt off like he King Kong and yelling all over the place? I'm just waiting for him to just start climbing over the buildings and climbing to the top of the Empire State Building. You know, that's what I was waiting on. That's what I was waiting to see. I mean, you might as well, if you're gonna do all that, you might as well go the distance. And then the one moment where he was in a situation where people should have taken him seriously, they couldn't, because they kept relating it back to his antics on and off screen. And that was when he came out and said that an exec in Hollywood sexually assaulted him and touched him in his private part right there in front of his wife. And we were sitting there saying ourselves, Terry, as big as you are, why didn't you knock that man's head back? You should have split his wig right there, knocked his head back to the point where he was looking like a Pez dispenser. He did that in front of your wife, and you did nothing. And then you sat there in front of,
oh my God.
And then you sat right up there in front of Congress and wanted them to do something because it was in the height of the Me Too, and they didn't take you seriously because you were a black man, so they looked at you funny too. And it was like, Terry, we don't know what to tell you. It's amazing that your wife was even still with you, because most women would have left if they saw that happen. Like, he did that in front of you, right when your wife was there, and you didn't do nothing.
Just
like we started,
he didn't say nothing until years later.
Exactly. He waited until Me Too popped off, and I was like, you do realize they're not gonna find no space for you, because they only rallying around white women for the most part. They didn't even find space for black women, and it was a black woman that started it. So I don't know what you think you're going to do or how you're going to fit into the equation, but they didn't take him seriously. And then when that happened, he had the nerve to turn right back around and throw it on us.
Yeah,
on black people. Like, I was like, hold on, time out. That had nothing to do with us. It wasn't a black exec that went out there and touched you inappropriately in front of your wife. It wasn't black people that was right there in front of you when you spoke to Congress and they didn't take you seriously. Don't get mad at us because, it didn't go the way that you wanted it to, or you didn't handle business back then. That's definitely on you. And ever since then, black people been looking at him side-eye ever since.
That's true. Very true. I'm gonna say, when the thing with Terry Crews, man, first off, he's been doing a lot of tap dancing and chilling. I remember those tweets when we were going through the protest, the George Floyd protest and the uprising, and he was all like, man, hold on now, all white folks ain't bad, and we don't want Black Lives Matter to be Black Lives Better, and we all in, like, all lives matter. He was saying that. He said all lives matter. That's what he was saying. So, I mean, and look at his career. He's the big black buck in his roles. Like you said, there's, first off, in the movie Expendables, you know what I'm saying, ain't nobody had to take their nobody has to take their shirt off as much as him. That's his stick. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood has certain little roles that the dominant society likes black men to play. Like, for instance, the short little boy man that Kevin Hart has been stuck into, or the big black dancing buck that Terry Crews is. The sensitive buck. You know what I'm saying? The fact that, first off, that he even thought that he could survive touching your private parts in public, especially in front of your wife, lets you know you let him know you were soft. I'm just gonna call it how it is. Exactly. That's just what it is. He thought you were soft because he knew it. He knew you weren't going to do anything, and you didn't. He was right. He got away with it. I mean, he is in jail now, but not for you. He ain't in jail for you, Terry. So that's that. I think this has been a pretty good podcast. I mean, we in here for an hour and 30 minutes. Time just flies.
2 hours.
2 hours, 30 minutes. Time just flies. But I'm gonna let you guys get your last words in about the whole subject, or summarizing up what you guys have to say, and then, you know, especially shout out your social media, any projects you guys working on, and all that.
Well, first off, I shout out to you, Afro, for allowing myself and Black Alpha to come up here and speak about this subject at length, because I initially wasn't going to talk about it because, again, there's so many moving parts. So this is my first time actually talking about it at length. I only briefly talked about it at the beginning of my recent live stream that I did on January 5th, because I don't know when you're going to upload this. And I'm glad that, you know, we was able to air out a lot of the stuff. And the crazy part about it is we've been talking about this for 2.5 hours, and it's still not everything. That's the crazy part. That's the crazy part. But I know we're doing, you know, based on, you know, for time, but I'm glad we was able to cover as much ground as we possibly can. Katt Williams, you kicked open the door of 2024. It wasn't enough for you to just turn the knob and just walk right on in like everybody else did. You said, no, I'm going to kick this door open. I'm going to blow a hole through this door, and I'm just going to just leap right on in and just go ahead and sit down and tell it like it is. Like, what a way to really start it off. I said, when we look at the end of the year of moments that happened in 2024, this one right here is already in the top 5. Like, all hands down, it's in the top 5. We still got a lot more year to go. We are still in the first week. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the day after or next week or at the end of this month. It's crazy where we are right now, just with this revelation of an interview, because it's really what it is. It's like a lot of stuff got exposed. Katt Williams, pretty much, if he wasn't vindicated before, he is now. He confirmed a lot of stuff for us that we had in the back of our minds about certain people for so long. And I'm sure that he probably knows some other stuff about some other people. All I'm saying is this: y'all better not get on that man's bad side, and you better hope that if it does come down to it, that he doesn't get another call from Shannon Sharpe to come back on and do a part 2, because Shannon Sharpe is like basically independent media, so whatever's said on there can pretty much go, and it's gonna be looking kind of dim for a lot of people. Protect Katt Williams at all costs. But yeah, if you haven't done so already and you're not too familiar already, my name is Torian Rain Reloaded. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube under the same name. Follow me on Twitter at Torian Rain Reloaded, and also on Instagram as well. It will be at Torian_Rain.
Thank you very much for being here, brother. Thank you. Alpha?
Man, much respect, brother. Thanks for having us on again. It's always good in any platform to chop it up with you two kings, whether that's in person, whether that's on the podcast, live, wherever it is. It's always special, because pretty much whenever we get together, we're going to break down something that's major, you know, and we're going to break it down to the team. We covered a lot, and I like the way you just said that, Torian. We must protect Katt Williams at all costs, because one thing we know about this system and all of the trolls and all the little minions of the system is that they don't like getting told about themselves, and they do not like when it is told publicly. And when the Black grassroots forms a shield around our brothers and sisters who speak that truth, those are the things that they cannot stand. So let's hold Katt Williams down, and we can continue to push on and push forward. Everything that he said, though, in that interview, and I think we did a great job today of breaking it down, was very, very truthful, at least to the surface. What goes on behind the scenes is maybe another story, but I believe that he spoke things that the public could see. And in terms of people wearing dresses, in terms of some of the gatekeeping that goes on, he said nothing that we really can't identify or confirm ourselves. And I think this is why people gravitated towards that interview. And I think this is why people are uplifting our brother Katt Williams right now. And it's got so many views. It's because he gave us something that we can see. something that we have had suspicions about our whole life. A lot of this stuff has been being chirped about, but we haven't heard anybody break it down. And y'all know Katt is going to break it down in a very, very unique way, Cincinnati, Ohio way. So salute to our brother Katt Williams. Salute to everybody in the Black grassroots, because we're the ones really holding him down and giving them that proper love and support. Salute to you two brothers, man, for keeping it real all the days that we've been together, all the times we've worked as one. I appreciate the love, man. And y'all can catch me, Black Alpha Network, anywhere. Just type in Black Alpha Network, Instagram, on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, YouTube. Appreciate you guys, man. Let's continue to bring this year in with style, and let's just follow suit, brothers and sisters. Certified salute.
First off, I definitely want to say thank you, both of you brothers, for being here. I couldn't have done this by myself. There's a lot I could have said, but to have all of us together really breaking this down from different angles and different perspectives and different opinions, that really brings this together. And I know the audience is really going to love and really going to appreciate this. You know, shout out to Katt. Like you said, protect him at all costs, because Katt is showing he's one of the few people who will tell about the dirty shadiness of the industry. And most of the time, if we're going to be very honest, most of the time when a Black celebrity, whether it's Katt, whether it's Dave, whether it's Monique, whether it's whoever, when they talk about how shady the industry is, they get blackballed, they get called crazy, people say they're on drugs, and we never see them again. So it's about time that the age of truth is here now, where not only is Katt saying something, people are looking to verify everything he's saying, and it's true. Everything. It's true. So this is good. It's good that we're starting this year off like this. You know, let's get rid of all the lies, all the toxicity, all the backstabbing, all of that. So shout out to Katt for this. Much respect. Now, with that being said, you all can follow me on my various social media platforms, which is Afro Elite on Instagram, and then The Afro Elite on Twitter or X, whatever you prefer. And links to both of those will be in the description. Links to all of everything will be in the description. Links to their social media, my social media, in the description as well too. Please make sure that you guys hit that like button. Leave a comment. Let us know what you all thought about this. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Tune in next time. Hit that notification bell too. That really does help. And with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to everyone.
One last thing.
Go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but one last thing that I had to say on this, on just Katt Williams, period, and I can't believe it took to the end for this to come into my head. Remember, in one of Katt Williams' recent stand-ups, he went viral when he said Black Americans need their reparations.
Salute.
That's
and
true.
He said it unapologetically, and he said where it needs to come from.
That's true.
That was one of the last times we heard from Katt Williams before this.
Yes, indeed. Can I say something else? You know, I got to throw this in. Katt, if you're listening, we got 3 kings right here in the Black media. Come on down. You can talk to us at any time. You got the whole platform. Reparations over everything, brother. Certified.
Yep, we ain't gonna cut nothing or nothing like that. We promise. You sit here for 4 or 5 hours, it's gonna be 4 or 5 hours on YouTube. I guarantee you that. But shout out to that, and shout out to Katt Williams for that, because that's brave thing. Because white folks, that he could have turned a lot of his white audience off with that, but he said it anyway because that's the truth. So shout out to that, brothers and sisters. I want to say I appreciate you guys for being here with us. We've been on for close to 3 hours, almost the time Katt Williams' interview was on. You know what I'm saying? So we matching that energy. With that being said, brothers and sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all, and you all have a good one.